Welcome to the 5th episode of Astrology Illuminated.tv. I'm Kelly Lee Phipps.
And I'm Gary Caton.
And we're here to break down the elements and modes, one of the core concepts of modern astrology and ancient astrology too.
All the way back to the beginning, baby.
So here we go. We're going to start off talking about a little metaphysics today. I know we're going to get in the deep end of the pool here a little bit, but we need to break it down, you know. And the elements and modes come from the core of the universe, how it expands out. So we're going to talk about a little metaphysics first. And what I like to do is talk about the one. You know, every religion talks about the one. You know, where you call it God, Allah, Tao. There's always an ah sound. Aum. You know. And so my symbol for the one that I came up with in my contemplation of metaphysics is just a circle with an infinity symbol in it. Infinite being, right? Just total infinite consciousness.
The universe.
Being. Yeah, I call it eternal, which means it's timeless, outside of time, and has its own sense of time, you know? Eternal being, you know? Because there's that infinity, and then there's that flow. So that's called the one. In the Tao, it says that the great one begot the Tao. And then the Tao begot the one, and the one begot the two, and the two begot the three,
yeah.
And then the three begot the 10,000 things.
Yeah.
So there's a flow of the one giving birth to the two, giving birth to the three. And that's basically what we're talking about here. Every religion has this sacred trinity, you know. Some are warped, but in essence, it's the father, the mother, and the child.
Yeah.
You can't have life without a father and a mother having a child, you know what I mean?
Even in matriarchal, the goddess, you know, people think goddess religions, it's all about the goddess.
Yeah.
But it's about the goddess and the horned god, right?
Yeah.
And their relationship. Like right now at the vernal equinox, what they envisioned was that the god and the horned god and the goddess were coming up out of the underworld, right? From the solstice, the darkness, the dark time of year. And they were emerging young again, reborn, back in, you know, as their young versions, as the young lovers, right?
Totally.
And so that's the spring equinox.
And I love it that it's springtime. And we're talking about the elements and modes.
I had to throw that in there.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah, because even in the goddess side, they had the three with the maiden, the mother, the crone.
Right.
You know, your Christianity, you got God,
the triple goddess,
the Son, and then the Holy Spirit is sort of the feminine.
Yeah.
Even though it's sort of been pushed to the side in importance, you know. I mean, they give it a lot of play, word mouth, but they don't really see it as equal to God, the Father, the Mother.
You don't see it too much in the actual Scripture either. I mean, about only. Like the Pentecost is kind of supposed to be like the Holy Ghost, right? Where it descended and they spoke in tongues.
The most place I see it is when I go to the South in the African American church. You know, you got Holy Ghost power. I like the Holy Ghost power. So the eternal being divides, and in India they're like, why would God create the universe? Why would the infinite unified being say, I'm going to split myself into a multiplicity?
Right.
You know, but it does it. And in quantum physics, you can't do something in an experiment or in a field of energy unless you have what's called an operator. It's called a quantum physics operator. And so, I came up with my own little operator. I gave it a symbol of a circle with an opposition symbol in it, because God's about to divide into two. Yeah. I used to meditate for hours on what is God divided by two, like God with a division sign with a two. You know, what happens at that miraculous process? Well, in India, I don't know if it's spelled right, but I'm going to spell it this way. Leela. Their explanation was that God's like a child, and he's playing. So they call this the only reason the universe could have been created. Is God's like a child.
Wanted to play.
And so they came up with this Leela, which means God's play.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And so I said, the Leela operator is the thing that God decided to do to divide, you know? And when it divides into two streams.
So what you're saying is God really is toying with us.
Yes. Yeah. Now the first stream of consciousness we call Yang. And over here we call it Yin in Chinese. We're drawing for a lot of cultures here, because you need to understand this deep stuff. We're going for the synthesis here. And Yin is like the sort of the seed wisdom, right? The seed wisdom or fabric of the universe. It's like everybody honors the yang, the creative force, but you can't create another if you don't have patterning. You know, this is the pattern. So that's patterning, and you need pattern. You need design principle.
This is almost like the dark matter, the space-time continuum. Right?
Yeah, actually, yin, when it comes down through the dimensions, becomes space. And this becomes light.
Nice. Nice.
Creative light.
Yeah.
So yang is creative awareness, you know. So you got creative awareness and seed wisdom.
Yeah.
And these are, you know, in astrology we have these as like positive and negative. You know? And
light, dark.
Yeah, light, dark. Action and reception. You know,
passive, active.
Yeah, and they flow. And actually, my symbols for these two, this is sort of like light over here. Yeah. My symbols for these two that I came up with for yang was like that, you know, and for seed wisdom, because it has a negative charge as like an electron, you know.
Right.
It has a magnetic charge. This is more electric.
Attractive.
You know? Yeah.
Versus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the my little symbol. And when you put them together, you get a third force, you know. You put them together. Like this is like the middle of the yin yang symbol, right?
Yeah.
And this would be like the third force, because when consciousness is born, because you can't have consciousness without something being aware of something else. It's a relationship.
It implies another. Right?
So suddenly, when God divides into two, suddenly consciousness is born.
Right.
Like God gives birth to consciousness by splitting. You know? So suddenly we have like, whoa! And in that you have polarity, you have in physics what they call harmonic motion. At this point it's still in the void. Mm-hmm. You don't have it in existence yet. We're way away from it. I'm writing a whole book on this metaphysics. But I'm just trying to give a prelude to how the elements and modes come into being.
I remember back in the early 90s when I first started studying astrology, I had the great fortune to be in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. Just so happened to be living there in a cabin of a friend of mine. And Robert Schmidt, Project Hindsight, was giving a whole
breakdown like this.
Yeah, but it was a whole conference on just this.
Yeah,
the self and the other. Is what he was the Greek version of this. Yeah. So
it's true. It's amazing.
You can totally just get into this whole thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, when I go into my metaphysics book, I actually give in quantum physics. If you want to describe something new and you don't know what it is yet, you create a model of what it's like compared to what you do know.
Right.
So what I came up with yang is that yang is basically a combination of three things. It's the Hebrew archetype of Aleph, which is spirit, aspiring. You know, it means Aleph is the first letter, alpha. Mm-hmm. It basically means nothing able to be anything. It's the spiritual potential. And then I added to that the astrological Uranus, you know, the divine mind, intuition. Because this is the logos, right?
Right.
This is the logos. This would be called the Sophia, the wisdom, you know, feminine. So you got logos, Sophia. We should have, you know, like philosophy means love of wisdom.
Yes.
We should call this new philosophy. I'm actually calling it Logos Sophia. Yeah. and then this is my model for yang. Is the Aleph, the infinite potential of the spirit, the divine mind that we have in the symbol of Uranus, plus in physics, the proton charge of the atom. The positronic, yeah. And my model for yin is you'll like this, is the Hebrew letter mem, which is where we get the word memory. It symbolizes
Capricorn.
It symbolizes water. Mem.
Nice.
Yeah, where Aleph is air.
Right.
Mem is water. Plus the astrological Neptune. I mean, dreaming the universe into being, the yin side of it. Yeah.
Right.
Plus the electron negative charge of the atom. So this is my model for what yin is, and that's my model for yang. I mean, this is my metaphysics. We're getting into it. And then this divine child that comes forth, you know, father, mother, child, is the fire element. You know, is the prototype for fire element. So these are the divine elements. You know, God's always showing up like, would be water. Because, you know, you got mem, the living waters. This is symbolized a living fountain of divine mercy and love and compassion. And you got astrological Neptune, compassion, you know, infinite imagination, dreaming the universe into being, Maya, right?
Right.
Plus the electron. And then this one here would be the air. You know, this is the prototype for air. That's the prototype for water. And this third force, which a lot of religions might call this in the Christ consciousness, or you know, because it's the blending of the two. It's the sun.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
You know, and in a sense, the actual sun, fire.
In the beginning, God said, "Let there be light."
Yeah, let there be light. Yeah, the logos stream forth through the patterning of the seed wisdom. You know, and the yin is the side of the universe that's totally invisible. You don't see it, but when it shows up in visible form, everybody's like, whoa, like the body of a woman.
Right.
You know, that's the thing. Even women be checking women out going like, whoa, you're not in the thing. Even women be checking women out going like, whoa. It's like, suddenly, this yin part of the universe that's invisible has come into solid form. And everybody's like, whoa, we can actually see yin. And everybody's tripping, you know, or like a beautiful sunset.
Right.
At those moments, it's like, wow.
It's the kind of thing that takes your breath away.
Yeah.
Makes you in awe, you know.
Totally.
That's the thing that Einstein said was at the seat of all creativity and all science. He said, he who is not able to stand in wonder, in awe, may as well be dead.
Totally. Yeah, and when you describe God, he always described it as this cosmic religious feeling. He just imagined a thought experiment of just floating in the universe and seeing everything and going, feeling that cosmic.
He was totally a metaphysician.
Oh my God, yeah, totally. That's why he was a Pisces. He said imagination is more important than knowledge.
Exactly.
You know? My model for fire, just like yang and yin, is in the Hebrew they have 3 mother letters. They have the aleph, the mem, and they have this other letter called shin, which is the sacred flame of fire. The shin. Those are the 3 mother letters that create all 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. They're called the mother letters in Kabbalah. But the shin, supposed to be a plus. When you add to it the astrological Pluto, right? Transformation. We're about to transform. We're about to create the next. We're about to create the first dimension that contains eternal being. I call it the creative void. It's like the root dimension that creates all dimensions, plus the neutron charge of the atom. So this is my model for Shin, or for this harmonic motion between yang and yin, and bringing the fire.
Makes a lot of sense too, because we talked about Uranus being fiery, you know, male, yang, you know, and Neptune being, you know, receptive, feminine, and Pluto actually was at the middle of our qualities.
Yeah.
Down
Oh yeah,
there, right?
Totally.
Neutral,
totally.
right?
Yeah, totally. I gotta confer with you at the coffee shop about my metaphysics. We can bring it all together. Let's see, where's the eraser here? Okay, so we got this whole metaphysics of the 1 becoming the 2, and then the 2 giving birth to the 3, and then the 3 are going to give birth to the 10,000 things.
Right.
But in order to see that, let's go to the next phase. We don't have Kim here today because she got lost on the way out. And she will be back hopefully next time. Okay, so when you think of it in terms of like that trinity, that triangle of being, where you have that air, proto-air, meta-archetype, and then that water that we just had up there, and then that fire. If you have these 3, not as we know them as elements in astrology yet, but as, you know, precursors to the elements in another higher dimension. Well, what happens when they drop down another dimension? You know, you get this fourth dimension coming in here. You know what I mean? That's Earth. This is the manifest realm. This is, you know, this.
Yeah.
Manifestation. You know?
This is one of the oldest symbols in the world. I mean, this goes back to Neolithic times. If you'll look, you'll see this symbol. You know, people started to understand. It's the idea of the unity consciousness. You know, with the cross of matter within that.
Totally.
Right?
I mean, this is our symbol we use for every single astrology chart. The Celtic Christians turned it into that, you know?
Exactly.
And the Christians stole it outright.
Yeah.
But hey.
They're kind of missing the point here.
Yeah.
With this part.
Yeah, the circle symbolizes God, unity. They took God out of the equation. Why did that? I was driving my kid back to his mom's the other day, and I saw a sign on the church that said, "Join our ranks or you will burn in hell." And I was like, whoa! You're getting a little bit overt, aren't you there? Join our ranks or you'll burn in hell. Come on now. Can we have a little bit more fear and guilt here?
It reminds me of that one passage, since we're on the Tao, where it says, you know, when a worthless scholar first hears the Tao, he laughs boisterously at it.
Yeah.
But the Tao would not be the Tao if it were not so, you know.
Exactly. When I hear something like that, I'm just like, what are you talking about?
So either I'm a worthless scholar, or...
Exactly. It's like, wait a minute, I thought the first tenet of Christianity was free will. I ain't got no free will up in here, you know? And then and then I was driving down the road like 5 miles later, and I saw one of those big signs. And this is when you go down the mountain in Asheville, down into the deep south, you know. You got Charlotte coming up.
Yeah.
But even before Charlotte, you know, out in those towns, and this big sign said,
South Carolina.
yeah, it said this big road sign said, "Come to our church," and it said, "Experience true Christian freedom." And I was like, now ain't that a contradiction in terms? After that other sign I just saw back there.
Yeah.
Join our ranks or you'll burn in hell. And then true Christian freedom. I was like, oh God. Anyway, we go on. This is like you get me on religion is like me getting you on politics.
Yeah. Don't get you started.
Yeah. So
all right.
Anyway,
back to the topic.
Air, water, and fire. At least the proto archetypes. You know, before they become the elements. At this level of manifestation, when this next dimension comes in, you know, because then you got manifestation coming into the void, or coming out of the void, and boom, this is like the inflationary period in the universe, where the universe literally goes from the size of a grapefruit to almost to the size it is now. It's been expanding a little bit, but it's like, whoa, you know, that's intense.
Yeah.
In less than a second.
Yeah. The three combined and formed the 10,000 things, or
exactly
10 million things, as it were.
Yeah.
10 zillion things.
Yeah. Well, mainly they had hydrogen, but then it started mixing and matching and getting in stars, like you said.
Yeah.
Boom!
That's
stars.
the microcosm of the Big Bang, is the star's life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the star is the microcosm of the Big Bang,
mm-hmm.
kind of like on this level, what we were talking about here. Because when the star starts gathering together the hydrogen and the helium, and it gets bigger, and then the mass starts to push in, and then the next thing you know, it ignites.
The one becomes the two.
Yeah.
The hydrogen becomes the helium.
Exactly.
And let there be light.
And then it ignites, and it burns for a long time, and then in the end, right before it dies, it starts to shrink, and it starts to create the heavier elements, and then, you know, when it gets to like iron and carbon, you know, which is how we made. Incidentally, you know, there's this whole school of thought, but with cosmologists right now, basically they say, you know, that nuclear fusion, which is what a star is doing, that the odds of that happening just the way it does are like so infinitesimal.
You can put a number of zeros, fill up a whole library.
Actually, I think I have to correct myself on that. It's not a one with enough zeros to fill up a whole library. It's a one with enough zeros. I went back and reread that quote. It's a one with enough zeros to fill up every electron in the universe.
Whoa!
Okay, that's how big the odds are that nuclear fusion would happen just the way it does, which allows carbon-based life. So what they're saying is, even the scientists, right, even the cosmologists are saying there was an intelligence. Somebody's been tweaking this thing, right?
Yes.
You know. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty wild, you know.
Welcome to the Leela operator.
There you go.
And
exactly.
It's interesting that carbon is the 8th element, right?
Yeah.
It's the 8th element.
Yeah. The periodic table is fascinating.
Yeah, you can even give a symbol like that to carbon. That's carbon.
Exactly. That's the lunar cycle.
That's the lunation cycle.
The eightfold cycle of transformation, which is
of
huge.
us.
Of us. Yeah, exactly.
Carbon unit.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the Celtic and the Wiccan. You know, this is their calendar. They broke it down into 8 pieces. You know, you have spring, summer, winter, and fall, and then they broke it down at the midpoints, halfway between the equinox and the solstice. They had actually their major holidays were at the midpoints of the fixed signs.
Llamas,
and you go in the Bible, and what do you see? Right? You see and Ezekiel had his vision in the Old Testament, and John in Revelation in the New Testament. What do you see?
The lion, the bull, the eagle, and the man.
The lion, the bull, the eagle, and the man. And what is that? The lion.
Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Right.
Exactly.
The
eagle is the higher vibe of
Scorpio.
Scorpio, right? Yeah. So you know that exactly. So that it's like that same thing we're talking about is like within all of these different.
Yeah, Scorpio can be the scorpion at the low level, and then the eagle at the higher level, and then the phoenix, firebird transformation.
Exactly.
It's got 3 levels of manifestation. So so this is how Earth gets born out of these 4 elements, and suddenly now in this dimension, when you drop these down too, then you have in this next dimension all 4 elements in there.
Right.
So, but at this level up here, they operate as modes. You know, the air is actually very creative. It's the logos. It's very cardinal. You know, it's the cardinal element. the water is the fixed. It holds the universe into being. It's like the mother holding the universe. Yeah. This is the fabric, and so this would be the fixed mode. So actually, water at the highest next dimension up is the fixed mode, and then the fire would be the mutable mode, flowing. You know, and we have a mutable fire sign, Sagittarius, which is very interesting. Sagittarius is always pointing us back to these principles of this arrow. But yeah, so it's the combination of the cardinal, these three cardinal fixed mutable modes. So you got the three modes come out of this dimension, and then when they drop these three down plus the earth form, you have four elements here. Because you have these guys reinterpreted at the next dimension, and then there's this earth form too to it all. So it's like a new element in the universe. And these is where we actually get the actual elements that we talk about, in astrology.
Fire, earth, air, and water.
Yeah, and there's three of these modes, and there's four of these elements. And when you get 3 plus 4 added, you get 7. They always say God's favorite number is 7. The 7 rays, the 7 planets, the 7 chakras. This is the unified universe. But when you get 3 times 4...
The Native Americans have 7 directions. North, south, east, west, above, below, within.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But look at this, 3 times 4, 12. Why is 12 important? Because we're astrologers. Why does that matter? Because the zodiac, the Mazzaroth, the living Zoe, the zodiac.
The one man, the one person, if you will.
The one became the 2. Because numerologically, 3 there.
Yep.
And the 3 begot the 10,000 things. The zodiac. These zodiacal signs are the immortal thoughts of God. In other words, they're the templates. If God's an artist, this is his little palette over here going, oh, let's paint a little Sag on you. Let's get some Aquarius rising on Gary over here, Make him a little rebellious,
Just a little?
Just a little.
I think he had a lot of paint on that brush.
Yeah. But and I'm Aquarius sun sign, and my son sits on his ascendant, so we just inspire each other for more rebellion of consciousness, But okay, so now let's break down the meanings or the creative interpretation of the elements and modes.
Actually, we talked about that before. Aquarius is a sign of short ascension.
Yeah.
So if you're standing in the queue to come down here and be incarnated, that you're standing in the short line. You gotta know somebody, right? To get the Aquarius ascendant. Because your chances of getting it are shorter. So you gotta really want that one, right?
Or you gotta want to be a Kiwi.
That's what.
Live in New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's break these down. The cardinal mode is the mode that starts the seasons, and it is
that rush of energy that begins the season. Like right now, when you have the green shoot, the vernal green shoots bursting through the earth, right? I got my garden out there going, and there's these green sprouts, and I look at it, and it just makes me think, and thank God winter's over,
Remember the film? I showed Gary the film. I showed him the seasons. I filmed every season, every month, 12 months in a row for a year. It took me a year to make, even though it was 12 times 5 or 60 minutes of video, it was a whole year worth of doing it.
Right.
And you could see in Aries, when Aries came on, the first cardinal, you could hear the wind blowing, the trees were knocking against each other.
What do they say about March, right? In like a lion, out like a lamb. You have that rush of energy.
Yeah.
That's cardinal.
And I like to call the cardinal outward and give it a symbol of energy going away from the center, like things are going out there, what I mean?
Right.
And some of the keywords I use are activating, because it has that force of activation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So activating, and then generating, because it generates a new season, a new plan, a new vibe, right? And then I use creating, because the cardinal are let's create something, And then I come up here to expressing, and then ultimately illuminating. So those are good keywords for the cardinal mode, because once you activate something, you get it going. Then you start generating something. Mm-hmm. You're like, wow, we got this thing, and then suddenly there's a creation. Wow, we created something. But that's just the beginning, like in the movie. Once I create it, then I got to express it. I got to go take it out and show people. Mm-hmm. It's an expression thing, and then the illumination comes.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. Grant Louis talked about the cardinal signs as executive energies, right? It's like, if you think about it sort of in terms of
Aries, Capricorn.
Yeah, Aries, Capricorn.
Or Cancer at home.
Cancer
the mom's in charge.
The boss. Basically, yeah. I mean, the cardinal, if you find a person with a lot of cardinal energy.
Libra at a party.
Yeah.
I'm the host.
Exactly, I'm the host.
Or at the art gallery.
I'm the boss. So in different ways, all four of the cardinal signs really are about being that executive. It's kind of like, almost like the emperor in the tarot, you know, where it's like, you know, they're sort of this cardinal force, but everything generates from there, you know. It's sort of, they're the center of the universe almost, in a way.
Totally. And then we get to the fixed expression in astrology, which is more like the yin, but I call it the inward motion, you know, because suddenly everything's going back inward, you know, and so symbol would sort of be like, you know, energy going, you know, like that, you know.
Right.
You just feel that energy there. It's like inward, you know.
The black hole.
Yeah. Some of the keywords I came up with this one were harnessing. I think I had, what I had?
Penetrating.
Penetrating.
Think of a Scorpio. Penetrating gaze.
Yeah. I think I had utilizing, penetrating, harnessing. Well, yeah, I had penetrating first. Penetrating first. Penetrating, harnessing. Concentrating. Utilizing. And
empowering.
Oh yeah, empowering. Yeah, and the reason I had penetrating first was that's kind of the first thing you do, you know, when you get to this mode of like fixed energy. It's sort of like, you know, once you penetrate into something, then you're like, you find the core, and then you can harness that core, like a Leo harnessing that heart, that fiery Leo creative essence to be a performer, right?
Yeah.
Or that Scorpio going down into the deep mystery and harnessing that mystery, harnessing the power of the soul, the water, you know, the imagination. Once they harness, then it's like there's this concentrating force that happens, you know. They grab it and they go, let's concentrate this. Let's focus it. Like an Aquarius, let's concentrate air, ideas. Let's concentrate these ideas. And then suddenly genius emerges, right? Scorpio, let's concentrate these emotions. And then jealousy emerges, or power. Or, you know, that's a negative expression, but one of the common ones. But one of the positive expressions of Scorpio is just the intensity that is transformational, you know. And so, like, what does Taurus do? They concentrate Earth. They go, oh, what's my bank account looking like today? You know, let's concentrate some value, you know. Yeah. And so, once you concentrate it into a form like that, then you can use it. Right. You know, like that Leo using it to perform. That's utilizing your essence, right?
Coin.
Yeah, and utilizing your money. Yeah, so like, let's go shopping. You know? And then suddenly from that stage you can empower. You know, because then you're empowered. Once you utilize the tool, you're empowered. Like if you utilize a tool to make a garden, like a Taurus gardener, suddenly you're empowered because now you got food growing, and everybody's like, "Hey, we want to shop at your market."
Yummy.
Yeah, you're empowered to live.
One of the other, if you take that analogy I was making of the cardinal being sort of the executive, think of it in terms of like the American government. The executive branch is the president, right? Okay. And then the fixed is kind of like the middle management, or in a sense, this would be the judicial branch. Right? Okay. The
judges, huh?
They penetrate into the law, and they say, well, what is the meaning of the Constitution, right? They harness it and concentrate it and apply it, and make it applicable to life. And through that, then we have court decisions, which, you know, like Roe v. Wade, you know, there's empowerment for...
Oh, empowerment, yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
And then we go to the mutable. Mutable. And I like to use the symbol for, I like to call it the spiral signs, because they're very about evolution, you know. And I like to, in my book, I give it a symbol of just like a spiral, you know what I mean? Yeah, where these ones are concentrating, this one's going outward, this is going inward.
That's what I feel like if I get around a person with a lot of mutable energy. I feel like...
Like me? Exactly. But look...
I wasn't going to make it personal, but now that you mention it, I go away from here going up the road going, whoa! Woo!
He visits the archetype belt. But check it out. If you go out, and then while you're going out, you decide to come back in, suddenly you're moving in a circle. You're going in a spiral, you know?
Yep.
And that's what the mutable is about, is the synthesis between these two. In life, you have to take action, to take responsibility for that action and build upon it, and then you have to learn from it and grow. And
I like that.
that's why some of the keywords I use for these is seeking, adapting, evolving, demonstrating. You always hear that with immutable, right?
Yep.
Demonstration.
I like this last one. Distributing,
yes. It's a fascinating process. First, the immutable signs like Gemini, the messenger. First, you got to seek, you know.
Yeah.
You know, or like a Sagittarius seeking the truth, you know. And then once you start seeking, you start finding all this stuff, and you start adapting. You start adapting and going, okay, well, we could use this here, use that there, flow with this. And then the adaptation leads to evolution, evolving. And then the evolution of ideas or whatever you're working with, it's water, evolution of emotion, leads to a demonstration of some sort. Like Sag is demonstrating fire, demonstrating essence. We're going to get to the elements next. And then finally there's a distribution going on, like with Sag, it's like broadcasting. Boom, like we're heading out this video out here.
How did civilization distribute? Via waterways, Pisces, right?
Yeah.
That's how humans came to spread over the earth.
Totally. Distributing water.
Yeah, totally.
And one of the reasons I call Virgo the sign of the herbalist, because it's about distributing earth. And earth is, you know, nature.
Right.
Distributing nature. That's what herbalists do. Here,
exactly.
have some chamomile. So
nice. I like that.
That's one of my reasons I call Virgo the herbalist.
If you carry the governmental analogy that I was making to the next step, we have the executive, the judiciary, and then of course the legislative bodies are the ones that actually make the laws, right? So they first they go out and they seek, well, what is the public opinion? What do they want from us? You know, then they adapt, you know, to whatever is going on. Then they bring it to the committees, they refine it and evolve it. Then they bring it forth and say, well, this we're going to vote on this law, right? And then when the law becomes, then they say, okay,
let's distribute it.
Yeah, distribute it. You know,
let's send out those checks to
That's what I was thinking.
To the taxpayers.
That's what I was thinking of. But yeah, I mean, even within this one, right? What I like is, you know, you were talking about how you can see almost like a hierarchy. It's kind of like when you go from the personal signs to the interpersonal to the transpersonal. Like Gemini, you were talking about in terms of mutable, you see Gemini is sort of like the reporter, you know, collector of facts.
The cosmic mailman.
And then Virgo is kind of like the editor.
Yeah.
Virgo's
like, wait a minute, you can't say all that.
Wait, you can't say all that. You know, what are we going to do, right? And then Sag is the publisher.
Yeah.
Sag is like, all right, did a good job editing, let's get it out there.
Totally.
And then Pisces is kind of like the public, you know, who takes in and receives.
The impression of it. You know?
The impression of it.
They go to see the movie.
The world, you know. So that you can see that kind of evolution even within each one of these.
Yeah, and these signs here, the mutable signs, I like to look at them as the educational signs, because Gemini, you start off learning your reading, writing, arithmetic, and then what's the next thing happens? In our society, we got it all wrong. We go straight to Sagittarius, college, you know, and we get this higher degree, but we've skipped Virgo. We forgot to learn how to do a skill, an apprenticeship. See, and when you forget to do that, you automatically cancel out the opposite, which is Pisces, which is spiritual knowledge. And so the society starts to decay gradually and go to its decadent phase because you can't get past Sag to get to spiritual knowledge anymore. So everything becomes materialistic, and everybody really wants materialistic because Virgo becomes the end then. They're like, let's go get Virgo, you know? Let's go get, you know, let's create a society that's so analytical and detailed and product-oriented and selling
specialized.
Stuff. Yeah, specialized.
Yeah, right.
So we lose that ultimate Pisces synthesis. Like, what does it mean we have all these products?
And Pisces, I think, is about culture.
Yeah.
Right? It's about this, you know, in other words...
Both Sag and Jupiter are about because Sag and Pisces, because the Jupiter culture.
But what happens is you go from the personal signs, Aries through Cancer, right? You have this personal... It's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy. We have these survival, really personal, you know. Aries is literally physical survival. Through Cancer, whereas, you know, the
tribe, the clan.
And then you get to Leo, which, you know, is like, in order to be on stage like we are, you have to have the other, the viewer. You know, and so that implies there's an interpersonal connectivity. When you get to Sag, which is really interesting to me, that's when you first start getting the social planets as rulers of signs.
Yeah.
You have personal planets all the way through. I mean, you know, if you want to talk about Scorpio
Mars
being ruled by Pluto, but when you get to when you get to Jupiter ruling Sagittarius, the other becomes
Mhm.
God, right?
Yeah.
You know,
The
and then
transcendent.
yeah, and then by the time you get to Pisces, you know, the other becomes civilization or the culture
Mhm.
within which you live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a beautiful.
You know,
synthesis.
it's the universal whole,
Yeah,
if you will.
by learning the zodiac inside out like that, you can see the meaning of how civilization ebbs and flows and how things develop, and it just gives you a great view of the way things flow. You know. So let's go to the elements now. So we got the modes. We'll get back to the modes because we're going to combine them with the elements later and give you what each zodiac sign is about. But first, let's do the elements. Maybe we'll divide the board into 4.
Yeah.
Give each
There you
one
go.
like a square, you know.
There you go.
All right, so we got this nice little square here, and let's go with well, let's start with fire. This fire is like, you know,
Hot,
likes to go.
becoming dry, right?
Yeah. Fire, I like these keywords. I like its essence, the essence of things, you know. Because in the Jungian, fire was intuition, you know.
Yep.
Where air was thinking, water was feeling, earth was sensation. So this is like the essence. Oops, spelled it wrong. Need an N in there. I put S-E-S. I'm speaking Italian here. So it's essence, and then what?
Vitality.
Yeah, fire. I mean, what do you think? Exactly. And then
identity.
identity.
We talked about fire, you know, from the stars being the reason why we're here, right? Consciousness.
Oh yeah, you can see that with fire, you know. That intuition comes from that connection to the divine.
You don't ever have to worry about whether a fire sign is conscious.
Yeah, right?
You know how you hear about those people where they say the lights are on but nobody's home?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to worry about that.
No,
with
the
a
fire
sign.
goes like, yeah! I mean, what does Aries say? I am, you know? And that's what Aries is connected to, that, you know, it's outward fire, so it's activating your essence, creating vitality, you know? What are some of the other keywords? Expressing consciousness. That's what an Aries does best, right?
Absolutely.
Creating identity.
Yeah.
I am. You know what I'm saying?
Illuminating consciousness.
Yeah.
Illuminating inspiration. Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, Aries is a courageous leader.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, come on, let's go. like Cortez when he got to Spain, he burned the ships.
Yeah.
And said, either fight or die. Guys are like, dang.
That might be a little bit more like
Yeah.
Scorpio
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
Capricorn.
Yeah, that's more Scorpio. Yeah. Burn the ships, either fight or die. Aries or Scorpio. So these are the keys for fire. And look, we think that everything has an essence. You know, remember the Dark Crystal, that movie?
Which one?
The Dark Crystal. You ever seen that?
No.
Well, they had these Gelflings, and they had these evil Skeksis lords over them, and they were like these like lizard people, and the lizard people were like, it was Jim Henson did it with puppets. It was like the most amazing thing. Anyway, he would the evil dudes would take the podlings, the little slave human people, and the little Gelflings, and put them in his chair, and put this dark crystal at them, and it would drain their essence into a liquid. They would drink it. Everything has an essence, right?
Yes.
It's the core of something. And then from that essence, we draw that vitality. You know, I've been sick the last month with pneumonia.
Within the every atom we know, nuclear physics tells us that within that essence is fire, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I was sick over the last month with pneumonia, you didn't see me doing a lot of moving around.
Right.
When I was bedridden for like 5 days straight, just like, you know, I had to refine my essence.
Yeah.
No vitality, you know, no identity. I was laying in bed. I was a nobody. And then I was exploring consciousness and I didn't have much inspiration to do much, you know, because I have a lot of fire, a lot of energy.
Your fire was out.
But when you connect with that essence of things, and then you get that vitality, and then you get a sense of identity from that vitality, because once you start that vitality, you're like, wow, who am I, you know?
Exactly.
Sagittarius, I'm on the quest for truth. Leo, you find out who you are through the performance. A lot of actors talk about how different roles gave them a whole new way of being in the world.
Oh yeah,
you know?
oh yeah, and you can see how their careers kind of evolved too. Once they got that particular, you know, role down. Like I'm thinking of Daniel Day-Lewis, who's got a movie out right now. You can see that character. It's like this. Once he learned how to play the bad guy, it's like, whoa, this guy. I mean, you know, in that movie Gangs of New York with Leonardo DiCaprio, he was the butcher, you know. So now he's in this movie about these oil barons, you know, when they were competing for the oil, and it's like, wow, you know, he as a Leo actor, he totally like you know, evolved through his identity, and now he's got this consciousness of this dark, you know, villainous character, and it's like.
Totally.
Yeah, it's just...
Or like Jodie Foster, the Scorpio actress that went from
exactly.
Silence of the Lambs to Contact.
Right.
You know, the consciousness between those two films, you know? But she had to go to the depths and explore that dark mystery when she was young to be passionate Scorpio actress so she could play these intense roles that brought about accelerations of consciousness. And then, of course, once you get conscious, then you're inspired. I mean, Sagittarius is a mutable sign. Distributing inspiration, you know, to the world. So, that's how that works. And you can see the Leo. Leo is about fixed fire. So it's utilizing vitality, you know, like a performer, using that energy, you know.
Making it available.
Totally. So let's go to the other
as a commodity.
The other yang element would be air, right? And it's awareness, you know, just pure awareness, air. Ideas?
Ideas.
Yeah, ideas come from the awareness.
Thoughts come from ideas. Yeah. Thoughts are collections of ideas. Or
exactly.
Sentences.
You're seeing how it develops, isn't it?
Concepts.
Concepts are the bigger.
Become, you know, strings of thoughts and knowledge.
Take 52. Click. When you want those clappers.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So this is the air, water, fire, earth. These are the 4 elements. The basic psychological profiles in astrology. And where we're going next is we're going to add these to the modes, so that we could see the 12 signs in all their glory and just show them in their combination. Last time we showed it with qualities, remember?
Right.
And showed them that. Now we're going to combine it with this. Imagine combining those two. Oh my God.
Yeah.
If you watch last month's video with this video, you'll have the full realization of the zodiac, you know?
Yeah. And then we could probably go through that real quick. You know, fire is basically hot and dry, right?
Yeah.
It adds energy and it creates distinctions, you know. Air is what? It's basically...
It's wet and hot.
Wet and hot.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sort of brings things together in a way, but it also, you know, it adds energy. And it creates, you know, it brings
moisture,
conceptual
it brings
knowledge.
things together.
Yeah.
Mixes, blends.
Blends.
Or one of the things I realized since last month's video, as I was watching the Return of the Magi clips of people's movies, and I was looking at Lee Lehman, and she said that the way the ancients determined or described the difference between wet and dry was in levels of granularity. So that water, the quality of wetness and the quality of dryness, she said, for instance, like sand would be wetter than, say, rock, like granite, because of its granularity. See? So that's another keyword we could add to wetness.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and I told you, well, you know, glass is made of sand, right? So, and glass actually flows. If glass sits in a window after 50 years or something, it's thicker at the bottom than it is at the top because it's flowing.
Totally.
Yeah.
The heat, the sunlight's slowly heating it up, and
it's flowing down. It's flowing down with.
But yeah, so that's the way that, you know, it's easy to think of the hot and the cold as low energy, potential energy versus kinetic, high energy.
Right.
Just levels of energy. But it's nice to have that other thing of like, okay, levels of granularity. You know, how can things mix and blend? Because when things are smaller, they blend easier.
Yeah.
When things are bigger, they're big. Imagine trying to blend a bunch of rocks together. It's like you're gonna break your stick, you know. You're gonna break your stick. So anyway, we're gonna start combining these now and create the zodiac, and it's gonna be so cool. We'll just go right through the zodiac, Aries through Pisces.
Okay.
One at a time. Yeah, just help me with the writing down. I used to know them by heart. What happened? It's been 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks. You know, when I use them every day in readings, it's like it's right there all the time. But when it's been 3 weeks and I'm laying in bed, I'm like, seeking, evolve, what was it? And I used to only have 3 keywords per sign. Now I expanded it to 5. Yeah. So in my book, you'll see I only have 3 per one. But now I expanded it to 5. It's like, oh God, you gotta keep all this in your head.
NyQuil brain.
That's why when I do a chart, I just put that sheet on the table right in front of the client. Like, look, you're seeking awareness, evolving ideas.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. All right, welcome. we're doing the combinations, and we're going to start with the first sign, Aries.
Primal fire.
Yeah, so this one would be outward, or what most would like to call cardinal fire. You know? So you got that outward flow going on like that, you know? Boom! But you got this, what element you got? You got fire, you know? So it's just like, you can see that the meaning of Aries comes from its motion, actually. Mm-hmm. It's outward moving fire. That's why it's the leader. That's why it's the pioneer. Mm-hmm. That's why it's the daredevil, the risk taker, the trailblazer.
Evil Knievel.
Outward moving fire. Yeah, exactly. Let's just do the keywords. What are the keywords for outward? We had
activating. Generating. Creating.
Yeah, the cardinal signs like to create like seasons.
Expressing.
And they're very expressive. I was just showing Gary the video of nature, and when we got to the cardinal signs, you could really see it. Like, bam! The expression of it.
There's a dramatic shift in the weather, right? That's because the tropical zodiac is earth-based.
Mm-hmm. And illuminating. Which is interesting, because you go back 2,000 years ago, the fixed signs were the cardinal signs.
Yeah.
You know? That's why they had the whole royal stars, the 4 royal stars of Persia.
That's sort of a sidereal zodiac. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
The tropical zodiac is when it kind of became based on the tropos, the turning points.
Totally.
The sun, you know, crossing.
Yeah, and I think it was like 200 or so, around 200 AD, that they were exactly in alignment. The sidereal and the tropical. So those guys are sitting around and go like, they had no conflict between sidereal and tropical.
That was the time to be an astrologer, right?
Yeah. And in the fire, what do we got? Remember we had
essence, vitality, consciousness, inspiration.
Anything else? Essence, vitality.
Identity. I missed one.
Okay, sorry.
Here.
That's alright, because my point was, that's where it goes in the middle here for the evolution of the flow of the element. But my main point is that when you mix these together, you can mix them in any way. You could say, your Venus, which is about how you like to love, is in the sign of Aries, I see. So you could say, you have the love nature of the warrior, the leader, the daredevil. I usually like throwing them 3 archetypes, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I say, to find harmony and love in your life, you need to activate your essence, generate vitality, create consciousness, express inspiration, illuminate identity. You can mix these in a way. You can say, illuminate your essence. A woman with Venus in Aries is all about illuminating some essence, you know? They're like warrior women. They're like Xena. You know? You just tell that they live at a different, they're more masculine in the expression of their femininity. Mm-hmm. And actually, when I used to live down in Key West, I met a lot of lesbians and a lot of gay males who had, like, the gay males would have their Mars in either Libra, usually they were bisexual, if it's Libra, right. They couldn't decide, or Cancer. And they were like really nurturing men.
Yeah.
Or even if they weren't gay, they were the most sensitive men possible, you know, Mars and Cancer. Mm-hmm. And the women that were most commonly lesbian were the ones that had Venus in Aries, the warrior woman, or Capricorn.
No kidding.
Woman in her power suit, yeah.
Huh.
And usually they would have Mars in aspect to Uranus as well.
Yeah, Uranus, I know, is pretty common.
Yeah. So when you got that combination of Mars to Uranus and the other, it makes you pretty experimental and wanting to be like doing something different than the culture is doing. And then having imagine a man born with their male force in a very feminine motherly sign like Cancer. Or a woman with their Venus in a fire sign like Aries, you know? Mm-hmm. They're just you just feel masculine. You're very tomboyish when you have a Venus in Aries.
Yeah, expressing vitality, right?
Yeah.
So,
normally you'll see that in the woman, you know?
Yeah.
But when you have a woman that's a Venus in Aries, she's going to need to express that vitality.
Illuminating identity, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's like, claiming your identity, right?
Yeah.
Rather than being, the partner or defining your identity through some man.
Yeah.
You're going to define your own identity, right?
Totally. And then it's even more beautiful when you can put it in the house. Or you can use these same keywords for the first house and they work. It's amazing. That's the cool part about these keywords. Because the first house is where you generate your identity.
Right.
Like, look at me, I'm a Sag rising, I'm a philosopher. Look at you, you're Aquarius rising. So you're activating that essence. Even when you wake up in the morning, the sign shows that's how you should wake up. You should wake up and start studying astrology with Aquarius on these things.
Yeah. Always.
I should wake up and start doing philosophy, and I do.
Sometimes the first thing I do is I go straight to the computer, and after I get my cup of coffee first.
I get my cup of chai. I can drink something. So let's do Taurus now.
All right.
But you see that whole thing. You got the symbol here, and the most important principles we're going through this is that the meaning of the archetype doesn't come just because some old sage from ancient times said, let's make Aries into the warrior. It comes from when you look at the mode combined with the element, it's what it does that generates what it is.
Exactly.
You know? Just like Gemini, spiral air, and it's the messenger. It's moving around, it's flowing with ideas, you know?
All right, hold on. We got to get through Taurus before we get to Gemini.
Yeah. Can't be skipping Taurus, you know? Taurus was out sleeping in the field.
Taurus was out munching on some greens.
All right, here's Taurus. I love Taurus' symbol because it's about being receptive, the arc of consciousness, to the circle of spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It's really about presence and being here now, belonging. Where Aries is the spiritual principle of courage through heroic action. Rah! Seize the day. Taurus is like, chill.
Pretty much.
Be here now.
Yeah.
Presence.
Right.
So, Taurus, I would call
Sitting bull, you know?
Yeah, sitting bull.
Sitting bull, the Native American warrior, he was famous for going out on the battlefield and with bullets flying around and just being like, I'm here now, and he had a vision, he was gifted a vision of his death, and so he knew, this is not the battle where I'm to die. You can't kill me, man. I'm here now,
So, look at that.
That's some powerful mojo, man.
Inward earth.
Nice.
I got a mountain.
Yeah.
So Aries is like, if we're doing Tai Chi, Aries would be like, rock! Just like the symbol. But Taurus would be like, so like an inward coming together.
Linebacker, Mike Singletary, remember those eyes,
Yeah. So Taurus, to me, is the sign of strength. Even though they say, oh, Taurus is lazy, once you get a Taurus bull charger, man, they are not lazy. They're just like, they would knock you out of the park, And so it's amazing, this sign. And some of the archetypal images, the gardener, the provider, the builder,
Yeah,
These are the guys, they may go slow, but they can build freaking pyramids.
Exactly.
Because they're so productive and concentrated. Yeah, the earth. Let's write those keywords down.
All right.
So on the inward, what we got? The fixed.
Penetrating.
Yeah, we got penetrating. Taurus is like doing that. Scorpio too.
Harnessing.
Yeah, harnessing those resources.
And
concentrating.
Concentrating, yeah. Utilizing.
Empowering. You can feel the power of the fixed signs there,
So basically, Taurus is taking the cardinal fire of Aries, this sort of elusive spark of creation, and harnessing it, focusing it into something productive,
the power
useful.
There.
Yeah, exactly.
And then for the earth, we start with nature. Because the first thing you see when you look outside in earth is nature.
Resources.
And you see resources hanging out in nature. And then you start to value them. Yeah.
Structures.
And there's structures being built by the Capricorns, and the Virgos are tweaking them, and Tauruses are building them.
Life.
And then you have life happening in the life field. Vegetables are growing.
You got it.
So look at some of these keywords. Like you can mix these in a way. You could say Taurus is about penetrating nature, harnessing resources, concentrating values.
The plow.
Penetrating nature.
Penetrating nature.
Yeah, you get the plow here, Concentrating your values, Utilizing structures. Empowering life. I mean, if there's one sign that's about wealth and resources, it's Taurus. Empowering life. Empowering resources.
Right.
Like, hey, need some money? My mom's a Taurus, and I always hit her up for some money. She's like, I ain't got no money. I'm like, you're a Taurus. You always have money somewhere.
Hidden away Yeah, that's what my sister always says about me. She's like, I know you have some little fund somewhere.
Yeah, you know, fun. well, now that I'm married, me and Christina have been using my bank account as our sort of joint bank account now. So it's kind of weird, like, because all the money's like getting drained every month for bills and stuff. And she's always like draining the account, and I'm like, dang, don't ever give a woman your debit card, right? But now she's on the account, so what can I do? So I just started using my online PayPal account as my account. So I used to always transfer the money to my bank account. Now I just leave it in the PayPal account, and I got me a PayPal debit card. So I got my little secret account on the web, you know.
They say couples fight over nothing more than money.
Yeah. Well, we really don't fight over it, but you know, I definitely see it going out faster than you know, it used to stay there longer, you know. Because then I used to live a more simple life without all this overhead, you know.
Right.
So, but it's cool. The value is I could spread out in all these creative rooms and have this big zone and be out in nature. So Earth, yeah, you can say penetrating life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. How about that one, huh?
Yeah. Taurus, the gardener. You know, the chef getting out there cooking. What else is Taurus?
Harnessing structures.
Oh, the builder. The builder.
Yeah.
Harnessing. I mean, Taurus can build the monuments. You know. During the age of Taurus, I bet a lot of us when those monuments were built.
My Mars is in Taurus, and you know I grew up the son of a union man, so you know I know how to build all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I can build.
Imagine the age of Taurus. That would have been when they built all these things, like the seven wonders of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Built, you know, the Colossus, the statues, the lighthouse, the pyramids, the this, the that, the other.
That was Taurus.
Yeah.
That was the bull.
Yeah.
The golden calf.
Yeah, and if you go around, you always see, you know, the crescent moon symbol like that.
Yeah.
And
especially in a lot of those ancient religions, right?
Yeah, and you know they even have over in Turkey the Taurus Mountains, and they have a city called Tarsus. I mean, where do they get these images from? Right here. And if you go around, they always had these little clay dolls that were like the goddess with the big belly.
Yeah.
And they all over the archaeologists find these everywhere, all through the fertile crescents.
Yeah, exactly.
There's big goddess little clay things everywhere. So there was a big goddess culture there before the Hebrews came in. So yeah, so Taurus, very strong sign, you know. If you have a planet in here, it's going to want to do this process, you know. And this is the reason that Taurus is defined as the builder, you know, utilizing structures, you know, coinage, banks.
Yeah, and on a more metaphysical level, like empowering values, right? You know, and you know, because you know your values are behind everything you do. People don't realize, you know, it's like if you're having trouble like getting motivated or something, I can pretty much tell you it's because you haven't connected, you haven't valued that concept yet. And so, you know, values is behind, you know, just like it's the second house, right? It's the one right after the first. Values is behind everything from the 3rd through the 12th.
It's the power of the consumer to control the economy through where they put their money.
Exactly.
So, I know you're big on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Whatever you put your dollar into, you're valuing that.
Exactly. Where you put your money, you're saying, I agree with who you are and what you are and how you go about it. So if you're putting your money in places where you don't necessarily agree with their actions, you're not really empowering your values.
So if you like astrology, log on to returnthemagi.com and order your DVD of the movie right now.
Absolutely. And empower magi, and then you can become a magi.
I showed Gary a lot of the scenes I've been working on like crazy. Do you like what's happening so far in the movie?
Oh man, it's unbelievable the collection of wisdom that's there. It's like every little piece is just like, you know, my eyes are bugging out.
The hardest part is deciding what to cut to make it under 2 hours. It's like, oh God, I don't want to cut all this. There's 45 hours. I want to have a follow-up DVD down the road called "Awakening the Magi Within" about all the full lectures, because these lectures, what you said, I mean, I already got yours on the web, but it's like everybody's full interviews. Everybody said so many great things, you know. Can't have it all in one movie, but hey. Now we got to go to Gemini. Woohoo, Gemini!
Here we go. One of Kelly's favorite ones.
Well, my son's in the house of Taurus, in the Porphyry houses, and I feel really strong for an Aquarian. Like when I was a defensive end coming in, bull rushing.
Oh yeah.
You know, sometimes I would use the Gemini and do the swim move.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just bull it up in there.
You gotta know how to do both.
Yeah, you gotta know both.
And when to do both.
Yeah, and when, And then you get that spin move too. You know, when you hit them and spin off.
Yeah.
That was like a Gemini move.
Yeah.
So Gemini, Roman numeral 2.
The twins.
Yep, the twins. Castor and Pollux. So Gemini would be spiral, or what most astrologers would call
Mutable.
Mutable. Air. And the cool thing is, if you look at the symbol here, you get this spiral going on, right? We'll just draw some airflow current going on, you know. It's like,
yeah. So that's,
I mean, look, this is pretty.
Yeah.
You know what's gonna happen. This is the trickster archetype here.
Exactly.
You can just see it in the way it flows. You know why this is the trickster,
Mm-hmm.
why this is the Peter Pan, the eternal youth. Because when you look at old people, they move really slow. When you look at young people, they're just all over the place. Little kids,
Yeah.
bouncing all off the walls, man. And,
Right.
and it's that movement energy, that flow, that keeps them young. You know.
Yeah. You know, and even in animals, you know, young animals, you watch them, they're like bouncing around,
Yeah.
chasing their tail.
Oh, totally.
All kinds of crazy.
It's like I've been
stuff.
sick and I've been laying in bed going, coughing up stuff, and then like just today I finally got to do a workout, and it felt so good just to run, you know, and just lift some weights, and I was like, wow. My vitality's coming back. I'm feeling young again, you know.
There you go.
Because when you're laying in bed sick, you just feel old, you know.
Yeah.
Like, oh. I got acupuncture. They stuck me full of needles and stuff. I was laying on a needle table looking like Neo on the Matrix.
There you go. Swords.
Yeah.
Air.
Swords, air.
Yeah.
I'm really. If you ever have an injury, go get acupuncture. You will not believe how you feel when that first needle goes in and you can feel something in your chi flow. Because it's not like a needle, like a metal thing poking you. It doesn't hurt.
Right.
It's like you barely even feel it.
Yeah.
It goes in your pore.
It's more like
but when it gets down in there,
or whatever.
in that chi, you can actually feel your chi flow, especially if you're very Uranian. First time I had it with my knee injury, 2 years ago, I almost jumped off the table when the first needle went in. I was like, but it didn't hurt, it just kind of tickle hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, whoa!
Yeah.
I never felt anything like it, but it was like literally going in and breaking up
Flip the switch.
the rock in my chi field.
Mm.
And suddenly, after I laid there for 30 minutes at the table, after a year and a half of just limping from this injury, completely healed in one acupuncture session.
Wow.
So when I got the pneumonia, my lung was like bubbling inside. I was like, ugh, acupuncture, I need you. So I went for 2 treatments and got me totally better.
Nice.
So Gemini is a spiral or mutable sign. And what are the mutables about?
Seeking.
Seeking.
Adapting.
Adapting.
Evolving.
Evolving.
Demonstrating.
Like the 60s?
Yeah. That's coming back around, baby.
Oh no, it's coming 10 times stronger too, eh?
Yep.
And
Distributing. Gonna be in fire air signs this time, the Saturn-Uranus opposition.
to the water Earth.
Yeah.
You know, they'll just add more energy to the mix.
Oh yeah.
Plus the Pluto coming in from the, or plus the Saturn, Pluto, the Pluto coming in square the Uranus Saturn.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
T-square with 4 out of 5 of the outer planets.
In air.
Look out!
Awareness.
Awareness. Ideas.
Which lead
Thoughts.
to thoughts. Complete thoughts.
Complete thoughts lead to concepts. Complete concepts lead to knowledge.
Fields of knowledge.
So Gemini is seeking knowledge.
Yeah.
Seeking-
Curiosity. I mean,
Yeah.
they burn with it.
Exactly.
They're like, ooh, I want to find out. They don't want to go too deep, but they want to know a little bit.
They really do want to go deep.
Yeah.
They just don't know
Yeah.
it.
So adapting awareness, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's where,
That's when you get the really evolved Gemini. He goes from seeking awareness down to seeking knowledge, and then once he's gone down through, then at the deepest part, it's like distributing knowledge, right? You know, because that's what you're doing
yeah.
with this video series.
Yeah.
You're distributing the knowledge.
Totally. My
So
Gemini
it's like
moon feels so
You
fulfilled.
filtered down through these various combinations, seeking,
Yeah.
awareness, seeking ideas, seeking thoughts, concepts, knowledge,
Yeah.
and then adapting them.
I mean,
and
just
then
my
evolving
process of
them.
like what questions to ask people. Like, okay, I need to ask them this to get them to talk about that. Feel
I
that
was
concept.
really impressed because I had experienced the Gemini part of you in
Yeah.
social settings where it's more like,
Yeah.
and I was unprepared for how good of an interviewer you are.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'll just be honest with you. I was like, wow, he
I went in my Mercury into Capricorn,
Educate, the word educate
Yeah.
means to bring out.
which is
And that's what I could feel, is that you were absolutely bringing out of me.
yeah. Each person, like I've interviewed over 45 astrologers, maybe 50, and each person I was like, my goal is to bring out what is in them, you know. And I would ask them a little bit of questions about their work,
Mm-hmm.
get off my list of questions. But I would see, and I would stay attuned to where the flow was going. Like me and you started talking about ice ages.
Yeah.
We were all over the boards.
Yeah.
But it was just like,
that was awesome.
That was my flow. And it's funny because Maria K. Sims said, I only got time for like a 10-minute interview.
Yeah.
And she was there for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And afterwards she's like, so you're one of the best interviewers I've had in my life.
There you go.
And I've had a lot. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I just like sat there. I just wanted to like create a movie, and I wanted to get some astrologers talking about their craft.
You were evolving your concepts.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And it was funny because Gemini's the third sign. And the first conference was NCGR. I didn't have the right sound system. I wasn't prepared for that. At the blast, I was better, and I took it to a more fixed level. And then when I went to Norwalk, I was like at my Gemini pure level,
Nice.
So it's just like this evolution within.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. That's the whole point of doing it, right?
And I guess when Gemini start distributing ideas, that's when they're gossip mongers. They're like, hey, guess what I heard? Because there is Gemini. Christina loves her gossip magazine, So he's looking in the mailbox for him, and she's a total Gemini,
Or distributing thoughts, hey.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. But what are the archetypes of Gemini? The messenger, the eternal youth, the trickster, what else? The scribe.
Yeah.
The writer.
Totally.
The writer.
Totally.
Yeah, because that's my moon in Gemini. That's the soul of the writer, And that's what a writer does. They seek awareness of things. If you need to know about submarines for a high-tech book, like, you need to go research submarines, seeking awareness.
That's the great thing about the internet, man.
Yeah, the internet's amazing.
It's all right there at your fingertips.
And this adaptation principle of the immutable signs is amazing. Because Geminis have that power to adapt the ideas. Not just seek them, but adapt them.
Yeah.
And
it's what they call synthetic creativity.
Yeah.
In other words, you can take a bunch of disparate things, and you don't have anything original necessarily, except the way you combined these disparate things is absolutely original.
Well, this is an expression of my moon in Gemini doing this with these elements.
Exactly.
You don't see this in astrology book.
Right.
It's like, but I wanted to get to the root of the system. Like, why is Gemini the messenger? And when you can see why it's mutable, spiral, changeable, air flowing around, you can see it being the messenger. There's no question of how it got to be the messenger. It comes from the motion and the mode and the element.
Because of what it is. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like the psychology of the element combined with the motion of the mode. It's just, that's how it got to be that archetype. And somebody painted with that, if a planet pops there in the birth chart, they're that way.
Totally.
Yeah. So, anyway, we're done distributing this concept. Just demonstrating this concept, right?
Yep.
Let's get back to our demonstrating the larger field of knowledge. Oh, now we get to our first water sign.
Water.
Woohoo!
Cardinal water.
Cancer symbol is really cool because it's like the mother nurturing a baby, but it's almost like a modern yin-yang symbol too.
It is. Very
It's like,
much like
if you
that.
see it turning, it's like the heart opening to compassion.
I like it. It symbolizes like somebody sort of, when you're holding a baby, cradling it in your arms, like the...
Totally.
Yeah. Or when you're holding the football, right?
Yeah. Protect the rock, baby. Protect the rock. Yeah, whenever I draft my players on John Madden Football and my Xbox, first thing I go look for is their carry ability.
Yeah.
If they don't have a carry above 80, I don't want them because they're going to be fumbling,
Yeah, they're just going to kill you.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a quarterback with interceptions, man.
Yeah.
If their ratio isn't above...
If their accuracy isn't above 80, you get out of here.
Yeah.
Alright, so water, outward or cardinal water. So let's get our little diagram. So now we're back to after Gemini, we've done a little synthesis. We're back to our first outward sign, a new season, summer, in the northern hemisphere. And then it's water, so let's just draw some waves, So we got an outward moving into the water,
The tides. And where does the crab live? In estuaries.
Ah.
Where the tides, the moving water, the outward moving water,
yeah.
where you experience that.
Tides going out.
It's a really, if you look at the three animals, the animals of the symbols of the water signs, you get, and where they live. Pisces, the fish, lives out in the ocean. The crab lives in the estuaries.
Or up a creek without a paddle.
Yeah, pretty much.
The salmon, but they start out in the ocean, then they swim, they migrate, lay their eggs at the source, at the core, and then they go back out.
Yeah, they experience all the different phases of water.
So water, cardinal, we're back to activating. But it's going to be a whole different activation.
The tides activate. A rising tide, rising tide raises all ships. Generating. Creating.
It's funny, same keywords, but you can apply them a whole different element. It comes out a whole different archetype.
Expressing. Illuminating.
Fire. Or, I mean, sorry. Active. Cardinal. Illuminate.
And water is imagination.
Illuminating imagination. Sounds good for a Cancer.
Emotion. Empathy. Compassion. Soul vision.
Soul train. Soul vision. All right, and this one is this archetype is devoted to Vanessa Keys.
Yeah, that's right.
Who is a Cancer?
Our honorary Cancer tribe.
Who was our first viewer to put up viewer content. She created for last month's show on the quality. She created this amazing diagram you can see right online. Just go to the video.
Absolutely.
Show number 4, and it took her 3 times. Just 3 times. I said, I kind of like it, but change the color there. Next time, she was evolving it. And the 3rd time I saw it, I was like, oh, was it great?
Yeah, she was expressing her imagination and her empathy for our,
for our vision. Yeah.
Because we're kind of crude here with artistic talent.
We're like, But yeah, she activated that imagination,
Absolutely.
She's generating emotion behind it. Like, putting this little layer of imagery here, and then creating empathy with the vision, expressing the compassion.
And white diagram and putting some color in that bad boy.
She's expressing compassion for us.
Yeah.
Those guys are hurting. And then illuminating the soul vision.
Totally, man. When I saw that thing, it just totally, literally, it just illuminated that vision that you and I came up with in the coffee shop. It was all of a sudden, it was like, boom, it was illuminated.
I know.
I was like,
I know. I was like,
that's how we should have done it.
Totally. And then, for me, it was just like, when I saw it, I was just like, wow, it's just amazing.
It had that cardinal quality, right? It had that activating quality.
Yeah, it did.
Made you feel activated, big time.
Yeah, it made you just connect with the whole thing. The only thing I would do now is go back and add down on the right, granulation.
Oh, yeah.
Granularity.
One of these days we'll have to do that.
Yeah, to the wet.
Yeah.
You could go right next to Promises Vision. There's a little space there. So Vanessa, if you're watching, granularity. Or granulation. So Cancer, okay, some of the archetypes. The healer, activating emotion. The mother, generating empathy, expressing compassion. The great mother. What else is Cancer? Cancer is the counselor, that listens.
Yeah. The moon is the ruler of Cancer.
And a hearth guardian. Like a guardian of anyone. Like if you're protecting someone,
protector.
You're a guardian.
Yeah, the guardian.
And that's one of the archetypes of Cancer.
Yeah, totally. With that shell.
A protector.
A protective shell.
The homemaker, Whether you're a mom or not, you could be a Cancer dad.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of people like, we were talking about earlier, we're not necessarily homemakers, but we are the stay-at-home.
Yeah, we're both stay-at-home astrologers. Our wives both go out and work. Which here's an accountant, mine's a massage therapist.
Yeah.
So they go out and make the money out in the world and they're really good at what they do. And then we're good at what we do, but we stay at home. We're
we're kind of like the Cancers, We have all the tales to tell of what the animals were doing while they were away.
And you know what the cat did today? He opened the door. I closed the door and locked it. He opened the lock. He picked the lock.
Yeah. So Cancer is really people. I think people sort of get hung up in the fact that it's a water sign, it's like this tidal flow, they get all like, whoa, and they just feel kind of overwhelmed, but because it's, it's this cardinal water, it's like this flood of energy, but the thing is,
most powerful, the cardinal
thing is, what I've never understood is like, at Oregon Inlet, North Carolina's way other, side, where Cape Hatteras,
out there at the coast.
Yeah. Turns into the island down below that, which is Ocracoke Island. There's an inlet, And when the tide comes through there, it's just like a freight train pouring through there. And what I've never understood is like, why don't they take and put like one of those hydroelectric dams they have over in
they can generate all kinds of energy.
Man, put one of those bad boys on there. Yeah, we'd have all the energy we could ever want. You know, so it's a very powerful sign.
The other thing about Cancer, like Einstein was Cancer rising. And he was all about imagination.
Yeah.
And he was a Pisces too, so he was a double water sign.
Active imagination.
Yeah,
right?
activating imagination.
His greatest experiments were thought experiments. Yeah. He didn't do, you know, he wasn't like in a lab experimenting like most scientists.
Exactly.
He would experiment in his imagination.
And it would generate emotion for him. Remember he was talking about God as cosmic religious feeling?
I mean, this guy was traveling at the speed of light in his mind.
I know.
You know? He was like out there surfing on the light beams and stuff.
And then when the Germans were like doing their thing with the Nazis, and he wrote the letter to Eisenhower to create the atomic bomb, like we can create this thing that will end this war. But then when they used it in Japan, oh God, he spoke in Japan. He loved Japan.
Yeah.
He actually had a really emotional love connection with the culture. And when they dropped a bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, he was just like distraught. Then he spent the last 10 years expressing the empathy of like anti-atomic bomb. You know? He said the last 10 years was a pacifist piece talking about that more than he talked about physics anymore. He was like, dude, we gotta illuminate soul vision. Yeah. That's when he really got to the highest expression of his Cancer ascendant, you know. He became the ultimate healer, you know. But, yeah, so that's... And, you know, people think of water as the weak element. No, it's your emotional. Water can put out a fire, it can stagnate the air, like in a swamp, and it can, like, erode the earth. Wash away the earth.
Yeah, in the Tao, it's, like, the most powerful element, right?
Yeah, it even says that, you know. In the Tao, it says, you know, why is the ocean so great? Why all the rivers flow to the sea? It's good at keeping low. Yeah. So, and water has its own adaptation ability by being able to take the shape of its container.
The universal solvent. Also.
Which Pisces is the adapting imagination. Adapting, you know, it's the mutable version of water. So Pisces is the final say.
So, all right, fixed fire.
Leo. When you have a bad case of narcissism, I call it a leosis disease. Got a case of leosis over here.
Somebody's a little bit too fixated inwardly, right?
Yeah, inward or what I call fixed, or mainly fixed, and then fire. So
this is the star, right? This is, I mean, you know. Star is a nuclear furnace that burns, you know, for eons, you know, and then, you know, in our modern day world, the star is what? The actor, right?
Oh, the star,
yeah, the star, yeah.
So, and as astrologers, our job is to show everybody how they're a star.
Exactly.
Like, look at your life purpose. Look at the sun. You are your star of your own drama here.
I'm telling you, man, there is absolutely no one I've ever met who couldn't grow more into their sun.
Yeah.
To be more the star of their own play, you know?
And one of the keywords I use for the sun is vitality, because it's fire.
Right.
And it's like, wow, if you want to get your vitality up, do your sun sign.
Exactly.
I healed myself through working on an astrology movie. I was doing my Aquarius sun sign.
Yep.
I was like hanging out with the group, even though they didn't know I was hanging out with them. I was like, yeah. Okay, so essence is, okay, are we doing, we're doing fixed first.
Fixed first.
So we got penetrating to the core. You wouldn't think of Leo as penetrating.
Leo is penetrating though, because when you're in the presence of a Leo, it's like it's almost like reverse. They're inviting you to penetrate into them. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like
until they get romantic with you.
Yeah, it's like you want to get closer to a Leo because there's this magnetic quality, right?
Creating,
yeah.
And then
concentrating.
Oh yeah, we're not in the activating side. We're not in the cardinal here. We're in the fixed.
Concentrating.
Concentrating. My brain's still at 80-90%. You know.
Utilizing. You gotta flush that NyQuil out of you, man.
I haven't taken NyQuil in 2 weeks. That was a long time.
Stuff.
The NyQuil phase was when I started. It was coming down with the flu.
Yeah.
And then it became pneumonia, and I was like, oh god.
NyQuil's not going to do that.
It ain't gonna do nothing for that. The only thing that can work for that is like breathing teas and lung teas.
Empowering.
Yeah, all the fixed signs have power as one of their words, you know. Like Aquarius, power of ideas. Leo, power of your fire, your essence, power of your royalty, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we got the fire, your essence, right?
Vitality.
Your vitality, yeah. Look at Leo utilizing vitality like a performer.
The lion is the king of the jungle.
Vitality. No.
Identity.
Let me read that. My tie got. I tied it wrong. Okay.
Identity.
Okay.
Consciousness.
Consciousness.
Inspiration.
Inspiration, which is a cool word because it means put the spirit in.
Yeah, inspirit someone. I'm going to inspirit you.
Alright, so let's look at Leo here. We got, okay, some of the archetypes of Leo. The performer.
Yeah.
The royalty, the noble, the king, the queen.
Right.
The bard, the troubadour, the minstrel.
Yeah.
The rock star, you know. Would be the modern equivalent.
Totally.
Or any performer.
Pretty much.
The actress, the actor.
The actor,
you know.
yeah.
So, all those are kind of Leo archetypes. The showman, you know.
Yep.
Flair. Any kind of flair. So, what do you have? It's about the archetype of pure joy and fun and play.
Mm.
So those people, like, give that to the culture in the recreational sense. Like,
Yeah.
recreational.
Yeah, recreate. I always say it that way.
Yeah.
You need to recreate.
Totally.
You need to recreate.
Which is about penetrating to the essence of things, you know?
Absolutely.
What is the essence of this, you know? Harnessing vitality like a performer. Concentrating consciousness or identity.
I'm about to harness some vitality next weekend when I go out to recreate. I'm going to do some trout fishing.
Ooh, trout fishing.
I'm going to harness the vitality of the trout into my mouth.
And my form of harnessing my identity is playing some John Madden on Xbox and reaching the Super Bowl on all Madden level and winning. Yeah, from a strategy that's perfect, you know. But yeah, concentrating identity is important, you know, because it's like, it's Leo, like Aries is I am, but they're still seeking it, you know. They're like, yeah, but I think at Leo's level, it's like embodied.
Yeah,
it's like concentrated identity. Like when an actress plays a role that she just dives into it, she's just so focused in it, she almost becomes that role.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
like Kate Blanchett as Elizabeth. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, man, she's incredible.
I know. Or yeah, she's like. There, I'm married now to England.
Yeah. Or when she's got the suit of armor on, like at the battle before. Have you seen the second one?
No, I haven't seen the second one.
Oh, the second one's awesome.
I'm going to go see it.
The battle with the Spanish Armada, she gives this famous speech where she's out there in armor, man. The Queen is on the battlefield in armor, saying, you know, we will not, they will not pass.
And she had an astrologer too.
It's almost like her will in that speech became the fire, the fixed fire that burned up the Spanish Armada, man. Wow. I mean, it's pretty
she had an
wild.
astrologer too advising her. John D. John D was his name.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the great ones always have a great astrologer in the corner. Reagan. I mean, that astrologer, Joan Quigley, was out there in San Francisco getting paid $3,000 a month just to set up Reagan's schedule based on his transits, progressions, and farming it to Nancy.
Yeah. By the way, if Obama needs an astrologer,
we'll be Obama's.
We'll be the Gemini team.
You know, he needs a whole council, like the Council of Wise Men. You know.
Yeah.
At least 3 of us. You know.
There you go.
So, because a lot of times when you're an astrologer trying to do mundane astrology like that, and like astrology for the king or whatever, for the Leo, Obama's a Leo. I think it's good to have a second or third opinion, so that you're not just based it on what you feel about a certain transit, what you based on.
Right.
When you can bounce those ideas off 2 other astrologers or more, you can actually get a more objective thing and say, okay, and advise an objective. But I think it's just one that might be a little skewed here and there because everybody reads a chart. That's the whole
idea of going to, UAC or going to the blast, right? You can get views from several different astrologers and really start to...
The blast is amazing. It was the most powerful synthesis. Not because just the idea synthesis, because the age generational synthesis and the young and the old coming together.
And everybody in one room.
Yeah, right? It was everybody in one room. It was just amazing conversation. You're going to be blown away. You're coming to this one.
Inward fixed fire, right?
Yep.
All these creative people in one room.
Yeah.
Fixed together.
Utilizing and empowering consciousness.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was just like, whoa.
Moses has got Leo pretty strong in his chart. Right?
Yeah, he's got Leo in the 9th house.
Yeah.
So not only is he doing the, utilize or empowering consciousness or empowering inspiration, any Leo with a 9th house sun is also at the same time distributing mutable fire, inspiration.
Yeah.
So they're not only empowering it, they're distributing it.
Right?
Yeah. Fiery sun and a fiery house. The Leo, all about empowering some essence. The creative performer. Now, once you've done the creation, you got to do some editing, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's when we get to Virgo. And I guess if you're anal retentive, you got a case of Virgosis.
Virgosis.
I like Virgo symbol because it's the body, the mind, but it's not like Scorpio with a spirit. You go straight to spirit, direct. It's like it's sort of hidden within, It's like the womb of creation, the matrix,
Yeah, the female.
And it's like very humble. It's like the greatest spiritual teachings are in the symbol, or in the be here now, So it's very zen, this archetype, So Virgo is mutable, right?
Spiral.
Changeable, but it's sort of like a spiral motion, and it's Earth. So it's the next synthesis from Gemini. Gemini is like coming up with all these ideas, but now we're going to synthesize the Earth. We're going to ground it.
Yeah.
So you got the spiral.
Virgo's a grounded Gemini.
Did you get the mouth? Yeah, right? It's like with Mercury in it, with his editor hat on.
Yeah.
Thinking before he speaks. So we got the mutable. The mutable is seeking, right?
Right. Adapting.
Yep, adapting. Oops.
Evolving. Demonstrating.
You'll learn these by the time we're done.
And distributing. Yeah, I think I've become so much better of a writer from being exposed to really good editors.
Yeah.
I mean, because I really get it now, like in the process of creating, even though my natural process is just kind of spit it out and then go back and edit, I know what they're looking for in this part. So it's already edited a little bit before it gets to them.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Nature, resources,
values,
structures.
Good old Earth sign. Gotta have some structure, right?
Absolutely.
Capricorn needs a skeleton.
Life.
And that leads to having life. You don't got a skeleton, you ain't got nothing to hang nothing on. Where's that carver gonna hang it? All right,
exactly.
So let's look at Virgo in a critical sense. No, just kidding. Virgo. Virgo is the critic. Virgo is the inner critic, and the outer critic. Critics. But it's also the mentor who would like analyze your flow and take you up a notch in skill. It's about training for skills. I like to use the herbalist because of that whole distributing nature.
The healer.
Or the healer, the alternative healer. I like Cancer's the healer, but it's more like the emotional healer, the counselor.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's put a band-aid on it, let's kiss it.
Yeah.
Whereas like Virgo's like, no, you need mulling for that breathing.
Yeah. Wasn't it me that told you that?
Yeah.
Mulling, yeah.
Well, I've had it before, back in the past. I actually smoked it one time, where you burn it and you breathe in the fumes.
I used to go out, and I've got a Virgo moon, I used to go out and gather mullein flowers. Mullein is this big stalked flower with this, it's like the wand, and it's got this big burst of yellow flowers on there, and you gather those blossoms and bring them back to the...
You're the herbalist.
I'd bring them back to the store, and they would pound them into a tincture and make it into this... mullein is anti-inflammatory, and they would make it into this drops that you could put in your ear if you had swimmer's ear.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's look at this.
So I was seeking nature, right?
Yeah, you're seeking nature. Adapting resources. You were adapting that resource. You were like, let's take it and put it into a tincture.
Right.
Let's adapt the resource.
Right.
Let's evolve our values. Because Virgo's all about like, well, let's analyze this. Is this really right? Is this really, because it's very mercurial.
Yeah.
And it's about demonstrating those values and demonstrating structures. Virgo's awesome at demonstrating structures, like in writing, editing.
Yeah.
Here's the structure of writing.
Right.
They're the guys that wrote that like manual of style.
Yeah, the APA.
Diction. Yeah. Distributing life.
Doesn't Benjamin have a Virgo in his chart?
Virgo moon, yeah.
Yeah.
I attract Virgos like a fly magnet. My wife's got 3 planets in Virgos. All my best spiritual brothers on the planet have Virgo moons.
Wow.
I have one. I got my friend Will, my friend, my other friend Will, my friend David English. My best friend Brett.
What is
you? That? All Virgo moons.
You don't have Virgo in your chart?
Virgo moon. I have Pluto in Virgo, but it's in my 9th house. And since I have such a Sagittarian focus with all that, they're always activating my 9th house. So they activate. They're always like, Kelly, we need to get you out there distributing, or you know.
What's the most common element in your chart?
Fire and air.
Fire and air.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no water.
Okay.
And I have
but you're mutable.
Mercury and Earth.
Mercury.
Mostly mutable, yeah.
Mostly mutable.
Mutable's like this off the scale.
Yeah. So that's what it is. It's like,
attraction of like, mutable. But see, I don't have much of this
of
mutable.
the Earth.
But I got a lot of Pisces, 12th house Neptune. I got a ton of Gemini.
So this is your opposite coming in to balance that.
Yeah, it's squaring my moon, so it helps. I get all these ideas, but I need editors.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But my wife said something about the film the other night, and I was like, you know what? I'm not showing anything else to any of my Virgo friends. Because they can just tweak all they want and think it's perfectionist, but they don't know crap about what really goes on up in here. You know? Because she was doing this tiny tweak, and I was just like, it was like annoying me for some reason. Sometimes I get annoyed with my Virgo moon people that get too like you'll show them something and it'll be really great, and they won't say anything positive at first. They'll go right to the negative critique.
Yeah.
And you're just like, dude.
Yeah, but they're seeking.
I know
the structure, right? They're seeking to structure the thing. They're not seeking to be, Leo and say, "Oh, look how great you are." I know. They're like, dude, you can be even better if you fix that.
When I first showed the cover of the film to my friend David English from the Virgo, he got 5 planets in Virgo. Yeah. And he was like, ugh, he was like, that's wrong. He goes, why don't you use like a real nebula, not this like, textured background thing, And so we tried the real nebula. I tried it his way.
Yeah.
But then I realized it looked kind of like his artwork that he's painted for 20 years.
Right.
And I was like, oh, he wants it to look like what he likes. I was like, no, I'm going back to what I like. I liked it looking mysterious, like the cover of The Secret, Mm-hmm. And then I just spoofed up I did use some of his advice. With the wheel, I actually put the planets in.
Yeah.
To add spice to it,
Yeah. And that's kind of what you have to do with that really Virgo sort of
anal retentive stuff.
You sort of have to take the spirit of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than the
literal.
Yeah.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I totally appreciate this sign for its ability to adapt the structures and
evolving life.
Evolving life. How we live.
Exactly. So it's like that's
the Virgos are the ones that are coming up with the better systems to make life more efficient. More practical.
Yeah, more useful.
So. And we all have Virgo in our chart. Wherever our Mercury is, Mercury's half Virgo, and wherever you have Virgo in your chart, I got it in my 9th house. Why am I always analyzing the hell of all these philosophies? I'm trying to synthesize them into a whole different flow,
Exactly.
What were you going to say then?
No, the whatever house you have Virgo on the cusp of, or by whole signs, whatever house Virgo is, that's
I have it intercepted in the next.
Intercepted?
Yeah, I have problems up there.
By Porphyry?
By Porphyry, yeah. Pisces in the 3rd.
Interesting.
Hey, we made it halfway through the zodiac. We're at Libra. Balance. La. Actually, Libra would be like...
Libra is the only inanimate object that represents a zodiac sign.
Yeah, the scales.
The scales. And interestingly enough, the word Libra is... actually means money in some, it's a form of currency in some
or even
countries.
book, Libra.
Libra.
Because people forget that, it's almost like people forget that Cancer is actually a sign of a deep imagination. A lot of famous actors have Cancer rising. Mel Gibson.
A lot of really good musicians in the 60s too.
Who's
Paul Simon had the moon in Cancer. Jimi Hendrix had the moon in Cancer. You don't think of Jimi Hendrix.
Julia Roberts, Cancer rising too.
Oh yeah.
Cardinal, outward cardinal, air. So the thing, what I was saying is Cancer is very imagination. We forget that it's such an imaginative sign, and I think that's why a lot of Cancers get depressed and start worrying about stuff because they're not using that imagination.
They're not using it in a positive way.
With Libra, we forget that it's an air sign. If we remember that Libro means book in Spanish, we remember that this is a very intelligent sign.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But it's coming out in an outward way, like the artist putting it on a palette, like the host, social grace. I mean, it's outward moving air. It's social energy going on.
It takes a lot of intelligence to balance things, right? To make everyone at a party happy. You know, I mean, jeez.
Yeah.
My Aries just kind of gets tired even thinking about it.
Totally. So then we got the airflow again. So yeah, outward moving air. You know. Let's look at the things here. So outward is activating, right?
Activating.
It's just fun to put all these up here and get all the combinations. You know, think about it, meditate on it.
Generating. Creating. Expressing. And illuminating.
You know, Libra's going to illuminate something because it's like sort of sunset, but the sun's illuminating things and painting a tapestry of art on the sky, you know?
Yeah, I always loved sunset. Was like my favorite time of day, man. Awareness. Ideas. Thoughts. Concepts. Knowledge.
Okay, so Libra is the artist, the diplomat, the peacemaker, the host. You know, all these images of harmony and balance.
Think about what you have to do to create peace, right?
Yeah.
You have to create knowledge of the other person's point of view,
Good
right?
point, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you have to convince the one party what the value is in the other party's view.
Or just from an artist's perspective, generating an idea.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what am I going to paint on this blank canvas?
Yeah.
It could be anything, you know?
Creating concepts.
You just generate an idea.
It's like that idea of the sculptors where they said, you know, they have to remove everything that's not, you know, rather than, you know, it's not.
How did you sculpt David?
Yeah.
Well, I just chipped away everything
that wasn't David. It's like, whoa. So they were just like totally, you know, that idea then became.
They were expressing the concept. They were like,
Yeah.
I have this concept, I need to express it, you know? Because the David is a big thing, it's a concept. Yeah.
So within this block of marble, somehow they found David, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's illuminating knowledge. So, you know, you wouldn't think of Libra as being about illuminating knowledge. But here we have another meaning for Libra.
That's what art is. I mean, you know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right?
Exactly.
You know, that's what art does, is that it illuminates the knowledge.
And it activates the knowledge. Because you can sit around all day and come up with these great Aquarian, mad scientist philosophies, and you can sit around all day talking about Gemini, but it's the Libras that go and activate the knowledge in a social experiment. You know? Like, let's get it going on out here.
Yeah.
So, and also Libras, we forget the archetype of the lovers. Let's think of it in that terms. Do we see lovers in here anywhere? Well, I guess you got to start activating awareness. Like, whoa, look at you. You look mighty fine in jeans.
Hey.
Just kidding. Eddie
Back
Murphy
off,
joke.
Boogaloo.
Saturday Night Live. Remember Eddie Murphy?
Yeah. Oh, man. That one, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s. Was that Mr. T?
Yeah, that was Mr. T, yeah.
Hey, come here, boy.
Yeah. Look mighty fine in jeans. And in the late 80s, it was In Living Color.
Yeah.
That's where Jim Carrey got his start, you know?
Yeah.
With his little pigtails. And Wayne, the Wayne brothers.
Yeah, the Wayne brothers, man.
That was
my
hilarious.
favorite one.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They were activating some awareness.
What was he, Homie the Clown?
Yeah, Homie the Clown. Homie don't play that.
Homie don't play that.
And then, you know, that show was activating awareness, big time.
Oh, yeah.
And some of those actors worked with Robert Townsend on this other movie called Hollywood Shuffle, where it was about activating awareness about the plight of the black actor in Hollywood being forced to play the roles of the butler and the pimp and the gangster.
Kidding.
Yeah, and then he paid for it. He was like me making my movie. He paid for that movie on his credit cards.
Wow.
Yeah. And then it became a big success.
That's pretty interesting.
You will laugh. I'll let you borrow if you want.
Sure.
It's so funny.
Sure. Yeah.
You'll be crying in tears laughing at it. It's so funny. You know, I remember he wakes up one night, he's dreaming of being the first black Superman. in one dream he wakes up and he's always doing these skits, and you see him do it. You know, he comes out of the water machine gun, and it says "Ram, bro." You know,
Ram, bro.
It's just hilarious, you know.
Yeah.
These two guys that go, we're like movie critics. Each week we come and sneaking into movies and tell y'all what's up in case y'all pay money and shit. And they like break it down. Like, well, the first movie is called Amadeus Meets Hilarious, about two. Well, I won't even say the language, but you know, we're trying to keep this PG-13. So anyway, it's funny, but yeah, they're activating awareness. So yeah, so lovers, creating concepts, creating knowledge. If you just think of two lovers loving and sharing the DNA pool, you know, sex is just nature's way to pollinate flowers, you know,
pretty much,
like the bees. We're sharing knowledge in a sense. We're generating new knowledge by this, bringing it together.
If you look at the lover's card in the tarot, you know, you have the two people. Above them, you have the angel. Which is kind of like, you know, they say the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So it is actually creating a third thing, which is an awareness or an idea or a concept of the couple. You know, us as a couple, you know, has a certain quality that, you know, we won't have when we, you know, do astrology with Benjamin or Moses or anybody else. Right? There's this third thing that
and it's fascinating because when you have the air signs, you know, the trigon, the airy trigon, you know, the air signs in general, it's Gemini where they sort of meet at the coffee shop. Spontaneity, you have a conversation, things start flowing. But it's when you get to Libra, the sign of marriage, that you activate it, you generate it, you create a relationship, you know, the relationship being the concept here, you know. You express it, you know, in a new way. We're expressing our love for each other. It's an illuminating thing. And this isn't until we get to Aquarius when we have communication Gemini, but happening in a harmonious way of balance where we create community, you know, and that sense of the tribe, you know.
Yeah. What's interesting about the air signs is that Gemini, you know, has Mercury as the ruler, right? Nothing's exalted in Gemini. But when you get to Libra, Saturn's exalted. Is the exaltation ruler.
Planet of commitment.
Exactly, So there's that big, you know.
And Saturn can really appreciate the structure within Libra's sense of beauty and grace and harmony. The art. Saturn's like, wow, this sign, of any sign, I'm vacationing there because it's so structured in a beautiful way. So, let's dive into Scorpio. Everybody likes when we get to Scorpio.
So there's some signs, Leo and Scorpio are definitely two of them that just have.
Well, they're the power signs, you know. So here we go. We got Scorpio. It's like Virgo: body, mind, spirit. Boom. It's like beeline, you know. It's an inward moving sign, a yin sign, and so we call that a fixed in astrology. But it's water. Fixed water. Whoa. It's like water trying to come together. So you said Leo's the star. What's this, the black hole?
Kinda, yeah, it is. I mean, you know, it's this focus of
place of destruction and regeneration of matter and light and energy.
Yeah, or you could think of it as, you know, wherever the place that's opposite, where a spring comes out of the ground. It's like wherever the water goes in the ground, it becomes the spring, you know.
Or like in the streets, the gutters.
Yeah. Exactly.
The dark places.
Yeah.
Where Penguin lives on Batman.
Yeah, that's right.
Penetrating, harnessing,
concentrating.
It's fun to use these symbols in readings. I'll let you take that sheet.
Yeah.
Because it's just fun to. Well, sometimes I say one of these things and it just totally connects with the person, you know.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you know, we speak a language.
Yeah.
And so having the right words to speak the language is important. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Utilize. Well, my lecture at the Blast is going to be on how to inspire people through astrology. It's going to be called Awakening the Magi from Within. And Moses challenged me, man. He said, Kelly, you do something with astrology that other astrologers don't do. You really inspire people, and it's not just your character. He was saying, because I was like, that's just my personality. He's like, no, there's teachable things here. And so he challenged me. He come to the plate. So I gotta teach people how to do what I do, but I don't even know how I do it. You know? I guess a lot of art is just creating little systems like this of like languaging, poeticizing the archetypes.
Exactly.
You know?
Empowering.
Empower. There you go.
Yeah, if you think about the scorpion for a minute, you know, we were talking about fixed water.
Mm-hmm.
Where is water really fixed?
Mm-hmm.
It's only fixed in the earth. You know,
Mm-hmm.
where does scorpion live? Under a rock.
Ah, yeah.
You know?
I've seen a lot of them in
Places where the sun doesn't shine. That's the only place where water can remain fixed, where it doesn't get evaporated.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Compassion, right?
Yep. Soul vision.
Soul vision.
So, one of the first things that people feel about Scorpio is the penetrating vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah, that penetrating soul vision.
like-
Scorpio rising moon,
people
just
are
look
like,
right through you.
Ah!
I know. My friend Greg, he's just like a spiritual prophet in the Catholic Church, and when he looks at you, you look like you're looking into Jesus' eyes. You can just
Yeah, it's like
X-ray vision
you
right
just
through
feel
you.
it. Yeah,
He's got
yeah.
Neptune on his ascendant right there, so you can also feel
Mm.
that penetrating compassion. You know,
Nice.
It's like, wow, he just loves everyone. He don't care about your denomination. He don't even care that he's a Catholic. He goes and sees the astrologer.
So empowering compassion, empowering empathy, empowering emotion. Definitely people feel the Scorpio emotion. Right?
Oh yeah, harnessing that power of that emotion. It's intense, you know. It's like,
yeah.
That's why the moon has trouble in this sign, because the moon is cardinal water, so it likes to go outward and send that healing out.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when it gets into Scorpio, it feels like it's going inward, so it feels like it's going in reverse. Scorpio is about alchemy, the alchemist transforming the lead of the lower self into gold of the higher self. It's the archetype of the psychologist, penetrating down to find that empathy and help the soul get some soul vision, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's the archetype of the detective, the investigator, all those things, you know. And even in that investment sense, the investor.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm gonna put a lot of money from a lot of sources into this big project.
Concentrating,
Yeah, concentrating imagination, because an investor is imagining that this project's going to make some money.
yeah. Harnessing the emotions, right? You were talking about the water, you know, the cardinal water of the moon being, you know, outward flowing, and this is more like about, you know, really getting down to what is the purpose of this feeling, you know.
Totally. So I think what separates the Scorpio from the average is that they're harnessing soul vision.
Right.
That's why they're so intense. They're using it.
Right.
They're harnessing it. They ain't just sitting on it.
Yeah, I remember one of my first family therapy teachers. There's one thing he always said that sounded really scorpionic to me. He would always say, "What is the function of the symptom?" In other words, he was harnessing these emotions that might have been, you know, being expressed in a sort of non-productive way, but harnessing that and saying, what's the function? What are they? What
is the utility?
What is the utility? Yeah. What is the function of the symptom?
What is the utilization of this emotion?
Somehow that sentence penetrated into my soul vision.
Really?
Because when I see someone with a symptom that I think, you know, why, you know, what's the deal with this symptom? I always come back that sentence always comes back in my brain. What is the function of the symptom? You know.
I think Scorpios have a tendency to get out of balance the quickest with their passion. You know, because they have so much passion, and then they become. There's some of the dark traits of Scorpio are controlling, or obsession. You know,
obsession.
You know, where you're just totally obsessed and totally compulsive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we all have this in our chart somewhere. So I'm not just blaming the Scorpios. I'm saying there's a part of each. Like I have it in my 12th house. I'm like this with God. I'm like freaking Jacob wrestling the angel of the guy in Forrest Gump saying, "Is that all you've got, mother?
Yeah.
I can take more."
Yeah.
And meanwhile, later, hold my lung going, hold my lung open.
That's my 9th house. So
You're
kind of
religion, philosophy. Yeah, we both got a spiritual thing going.
Yeah.
And I get obsessive about my imagination. Look at my world there, you know? It's like, who creates their own world, you know? Just to role play what it's like to be a god, you know? And have all these characters.
You know,
and all
you
these
think
dramas.
about Scorpio being the sign of rebirth.
Yeah.
The reason why Scorpios constantly have to recreate themselves and rebirth themselves is because they're harnessing all these emotions. And so it's like imagine, you know, that your emotional data bank is like the hard drive, your emotional hard drive.
Yeah.
It's like your hard drive's full, man. You got to clean that thing out. Yeah. You just got to totally take an emotional crap, if you will, and just clean it out and get rebirthed and get renewed and have new room for new stuff on your hard drive, you know.
When you get to Pisces, it's an emotional carp.
There you go.
The fish.
Yeah, right.
But I can see Piglet, you know, the Winnie the Pooh of the Pisces. Take my house.
Yeah.
I need an emotional carp. I need to go take an emotional carp, little Piglet. We go strange places on the show, but you know, it's all in good humor, you know. So, and Scorpio, I think a person walking around with a lot of Scorpio in their chart is like a living transformer, you know, like out there on the wires.
Yeah.
They literally step up or lower or, you know, emotion where they need to. They're like, they have the ability, like a shaman, to take on someone's pain and give it up. I think Virgo's a shaman too, in the Native American sense, earthy shaman. I mean, you're very into that, your Virgo moon. Yeah. But I think Scorpio's like the other side of the shaman. Yeah. That goes into that vision space where they can actually let it go. Like the Virgo might be the ritual, the devotion, the sacred.
Right. The structure.
Yeah. But then you go through Libra, the harmony, and you get to Scorpio. Because here's Libra, and on both sides you got very masculine Mars sign and very virginal, devotional sign. So it's like they're forming a sacred marriage.
They're also unseen, you know, because of the quincunx, that kind of.
And mystery, you know, you think of Scorpio as mystery.
Yeah.
And the word mystery is from Hebrew, Mitsuri, which is actually the name that they had for Egypt. The land of mystery.
The land of mystery.
They called Egypt Mitsuri. And the old time you didn't contemplate the mystery, you went to the mystery. Go on to Egypt.
Yeah.
Give me some initiation in the pyramids and stuff. You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, we're almost done. We're going to the transcendent signs now.
Yeah. Now we're getting past the signs that are ruled by personal planets.
I guess another harnessing empathy thing would be like Scorpio about sexuality. You get to that empathetic state with your partner, you know.
Yeah, it's like, you know, sex for fun is more like Leo, right?
Yeah, romance.
Yeah, romance, but sex for really
reproduction or regeneration
and
or tantra.
Experiencing the other person's being, their spiritual being. That's more like Scorpio.
Oh, look at that symbol. It just looks good. I'm biased though. All right. So here we got mutable, fire,
spiral fire.
Spiral fire. And you can just see it, the evolution of consciousness there. You get this spiral, and you get that fire, you know?
Nice.
It's like, whoa. So some of the keywords for mutable spiral are
seeking, adapting, evolving, demonstrating.
Yeah, these are the educational signs, eh?
Yeah. Distributing.
I guess the mutable signs, you could add another keyword, you could synthesizing, you know?
Yeah.
But it might be in one of these, I don't know. What do you think? What word synthesis? Synthesizing. I was thinking about that when I was creating it, putting just synthesizing it, but I didn't want more than 5. I'm saying with the Tao, you know, 5.
I think adapting and evolving.
Yeah, the synthesis is right in here.
Yeah.
The synthesizing, the adapting.
And the evolving.
Yeah, you could even put synthesizing in here. But anyway, but we got fire. Essence. Back to the essence of things.
Vitality.
The vitality.
Identity.
Ooh, fiery identity. Fireflies always have identity, you know. They're not just lost in the crowd.
Consciousness.
So water signs that can disappear if they need to, you know.
That's interesting. Water and earth, probably.
That's why water and fire burn each other in the crowd. Or get in a fight, you know. When water touches fire, it puts it out.
Yeah,
Why are you acting so egotistical?
Inspiration.
Alright, let's start at the top of the archetypes. What we got? The gypsy, the wanderer, the philosopher, the seeker, the one we forgot for Gemini was the storyteller.
Oh, yeah.
But we said the writer, so okay. Sag is the philosopher, the sage, the sage, you know?
Yeah.
So the scholar, and also the priestess, the high priest, the high priestess. So these are all having to do with reaching for something, right?
Yeah.
Seeking something.
Seeking identity. Seeking consciousness.
Yeah, or seeking your essence. Like, who am I at the essence? Like the philosopher, like, who am? What is the meaning of life? What is truth?
What is truth? What is knowledge?
Adapting your essence, adapting your identity, adapting vitality. Sagittarius is good at that. When you're out on a long journey, you have to learn to adapt your vitality. When you're in a desert, you gotta learn to like deal with desert terrain.
Yeah,
you know?
to keep hydrated, cover yourself up, reflect.
So you're adapting to keep your vitality, demonstrating consciousness, distributing inspiration. That's what Sagittarius do best, you know.
Yeah.
They're just like, hey!
Yeah.
Jupiter people, you know. It's pretty good realization there. Synthesizing inspiration. That's what Moses wants me to do for my lecture. I want you to synthesize your
Synthesize your inspiration. So
adapt it, involve it, so you can teach it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'm going to say. You know?
It's kind of like Roy Gillette in the movie. What did he say about...
Oh, I love what he said.
He said, you know, if you really are in love with the language,
astrology,
you can start a sentence not knowing where the hell you're going with it, and it'll come out beautiful.
Yeah, and the next sentence will
grow upon that.
And that'll grow upon that.
And pretty
then
soon
get flashes
you're saying stuff you never even thought you were capable of, you know?
Exactly. That's how I do most of my lectures anyway. I mean, I go and plan on Mercury and Capricorn, but then I throw the plan away right when I get on stage and just go with my Leo South Node and go, hey! You know, make it fun and playful.
Yeah.
Gemini Moon starts talking.
Yeah. It's a good idea to kind of have a game plan, but it's also a good idea to be able to know when to adapt.
Yeah.
You know,
well, part of the inspiration of my reading is I don't just like start with the sun and go to the moon and go all the way to Pluto. I kind of bounce around and flow. I mean, I have a structure, but then I'm flexible within that structure.
Yeah.
If the sun square Pluto, you got to talk about Pluto.
Right.
You know? So it's just like, okay, you flow. You got an aspect in here, sun square Uranus, you got to talk about it. You know? So you just create this
it's a journey.
Synthesizing journey flow, you know? But I think Sagittarius is one of the signs that has to do with being an astrologer, magi in the sense of being a magi, which were the Zoroastrian priests, priestesses, just like the Hebrew rabbi. So they were like the magi. So I guess Sagittarius would be that religious side of Jupiter of being an astrologer, whereas Mercury would be the intellectual side of being a communicator, and then Uranus would be the cosmic connection. Like he's talking about the flashes of insight.
Yeah.
So really, all three of those planets have something to do with astrology. And then Saturn would be like the tradition, the structure, the wisdom that comes from knowing all this. You know?
Yeah. Robert Hand, you know.
Robert Hand, Dusty Scholar.
Yeah.
Totally. I love Robert Hand, man. He's so funny.
He's Sun Saturn, isn't he?
No, his son is... Oh, I don't know about his son. Oh, yeah, because he's in Sag. I know he's a Sag, and he has Cancer rising. And he's funny, because when he lectures, he's really knowledgeable and scholarly. He's got these little arms that flap, almost like a little water creature, you know? He stands up there going like this, you know? And it's just really funny to watch, because and then he's like so dry, but he's so like, gets to a point where he just like forces the arrow forward. He shoots an arrow right into this subject, and you're just like, whoa, can't believe he just said that.
I'm looking forward to seeing him at UAC.
Yeah. Okay, so hey, we're almost 3 more signs. We're almost around the zodiac. It's a long circle.
It's a long journey, man.
Yeah.
It's the journey of life.
Yep, journey of life.
The circle of life.
So Capricorn, I always say it's about going down into the depths like the hermit, bringing it back out to the world, ambitiously to plan your work and work your plans like a mirror reflect the truth you found. So Capricorn is the wise elder of the tribe, the executive. And so, of course, it's outward. It's an outward display in winter. Look at all the snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Outward, but it's earth. You can really see, like, the trees are really stark. You can almost see, like, the bones, the skeletons of the tree. Like, the earth is outward.
The standing nation is what the Native Americans called the trees.
Oh, really?
Standing people.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's cardinal. So you got cardinality again. The last of the cardinal signs. Winter's here. But it's like a mountain, you know. It's cardinal earth. So it's earth in motion. Like the big businessman.
Thrusting of the mountain up.
The manager.
Yeah, totally. The executive.
So let's do cardinal. Outward. Activating. Capricorns are good at activating businesses, you know. And,
Generating?
Generating. They can definitely generate some resources. Creating, which is funny. People don't think of Capricorn as a very creative sign. Man, creating a business takes a lot of creativity. It's just not the kind of creativity you see in a watery Pisces visionary artist or a Libra fine artist. It's a different kind of creativity.
Isn't Ray Merriman a Capricorn?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Didn't he like create ISAR or something?
I don't know if he created it, but he definitely was part of it. You know.
Yeah. He's the executive.
Yeah. He's the CEO.
Creating, expressing.
It's like the hermit expressing that deep wisdom of nature. You know.
Yeah.
And then finally is illuminating.
Illuminating.
Oh, yeah, you can see the hermit there with his little lamp.
Oh yeah.
Illuminating wisdom.
Shining the light up from the mountaintop, right?
And when you have the earth keywords, you have nature. And then what?
Resources.
Yeah, because out in nature you find a bunch of stuff.
Values.
And you start to value it, yeah. I'm remembering now. Oh, my
Structures.
keywords. Yeah, and then you gotta build the structures. Some of these are value structures, like laws, you know. Some of these are resource structures, like how do we get the coal out of the... How do you get some energy out of coal?
Yeah.
Or the coal out of the land. Life. Okay, so what do you think about that?
Activating life. The patriarch.
Yeah, the patriarch sign, yeah.
You know, I really like these cross ones. Illuminating nature.
Yeah.
You don't really think of Capricorn that way, right?
Yeah, but when I talk to a lot of Capricorn, I know a lot of Capricorns who are landscape artists, you know, landscapers.
I'm thinking of not a Capricorn, but a guy with Saturn really prominent in his chart was Lewis Carroll. You know, he wrote about Alice down the rabbit hole. He was illuminating nature, right? Yeah, you and I have a strong Saturn in our chart, and we're talking about the Tao and the American wisdom. So it's like we're all about this. These natural we're not just into idea. Principles, right? Yeah, we like to bring it back to earth and go the alternatings of light and dark, you know, the whole... Generating structures. A lot of people, that's how they think of Capricorn, right? Yeah. It's like, let's organize things. Structure, but creating values. You can see that as a principle of organization. How do you get organized? You generate structures. Exactly. Start small, build it up. Yeah. Creating values, that's interesting because, you know, one of the things I think that happened recently in the astrology community is they've created a code of ethics. Yeah. Right? Under the North Node Uranus 15-year cycle that started in Capricorn. You know, in the 90s when it came in. It was like, this 15 years have been governed by that. Let's go back to look at the history. And see what values we can ascertain. Yeah, so astrology's been all about Capricorn for the last 15 years. Now it's about Pisces. Until video. The blast. Yeah, until the blast. Now it's all about video. And the blast, what? It synthesized all the people into one room. Yeah. And showed all these different lectures of all these different cultures. Yeah. Vedic, Western, ancient, whatever, medieval, Kelly Lee Phipps, crazy astrology, Tao astrology, everything was out there. And then suddenly, it came together in a beautiful way under that Uranus. So illuminating resources. What happens when you generate structures? Well, you find out where you're using your resources and where you're not, and you can find out, man, I got all these resources I'm not even using, right? You know, that's what happens when you get these Capricorn structures. Or even a Capricorn manager will learn to create resources. Yeah, But even within the people, he'll be like, I can see that this person has a resource. Exactly. They're not using it. I need to bring it out. I need to bring it out of them. Totally. That's a good manager. Visionary leader, who can bring stuff out of you. But yeah, Capricorn you think is like the president, you know? Like Abraham Lincoln, one of the best presidents ever, Capricorn rising. Had that long face. Yeah. Honest Abe, you know? Yeah. So he was all about creating values, you know? With the whole ending slavery. Yeah, there's an alternative view of that. I know, that he was just in the position. D. Lorenzo, the real Lincoln. Yeah. So, but everybody's got their, you know... Yeah. But the thing was that he was the player on the national stage that was in charge when it went down. You know, we had Civil War and all that. Yeah, totally. So it was like, it just sort of happened that way. You know, when he was Capricorn rising. So I remember he failed 19 different elections, and then elected president. Yeah, the life of like striving. He was self-taught too, wasn't he? An autodidact. Yeah, he lived in like a cabin somewhere. Taught himself law. Yeah, he's studying law books. Yeah, so, he's the hermit. So expressing life, you know, that's an interesting one for Capricorn. That is an interesting one. My kid got 6 planets in Capricorn. He's one of the most very expressive people you know. He is. He's always like, absolutely dancing around. I know. He has Cancer rising and his moon's in Capricorn. Normally you think someone would be very submerged. You know that. But his moon's conjunct Mars and Mercury. So it's real lively and fiery and
But it's all in Capricorn, though.
He's very wise, though.
Yeah, very wise, very wise. Yeah, he's always like dropping some wisdom.
I mean, always, yeah.
He's always reminding me of my own rules. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, the rules are. Like, oh yeah. Like the last night he was here, Christina said, "Okay, you guys can stay late, but not too late." And then I got to like 4 in the morning, and we had just got done watching Groundhog's Day. I wanted to let him see that before he went back to his mom's. And then it's about getting stuck in time. You know, Capricorn really like that.
Yeah.
Until you learn to live from your heart, then you get out of the trap of time. And then me, we're sitting there, and he's like, "I think it's bedtime, Dad." I was like, "No, just one more movie. Come on." And we watched this other movie. So I'm the kid. He's
that
the
whole
dad.
generation, you know, with that, you know,
The Stellium and Capricorn.
Uranus, Neptune,
And Saturn.
conjunction. Yeah, it's like there's some serious wisdom coming on the planet with those people.
Oh, I know. Like, I see those guys as Neptune, the planet of spirituality, in the sign of the manager. They're going to be spiritual managers with these really spiritual values.
God
We're not
knows
raping
we
the
need
earth anymore for resources.
Yeah. God knows we need it, man.
Yeah, I think the universe knows we need it. That's why they're here.
Yeah. Right on.
Okay, so we got Aquarius.
Nice.
Your rising sign, my sun sign.
Yep. This is one of the ones we have in common.
This is my Mercury sign. That's why I think in such structures like this. You know.
Mercury, Uranus, Mercury, Aquarius is a really interesting combination.
Mm-hmm. So we got Aquarius, which most people see Aquarius as a water bear, but it's not a water sign, it's an air sign. It's electrical. 2 serpents of knowledge and wisdom, electrical energy, cosmic radiation, you know.
Yeah. He's bearing the water through the idea of serving humanity, right?
Mm-hmm. Fixed air. Or inward moving air. This is where I really got to understand Aquarius strong with these keywords here.
Mm-hmm.
As an Aquarian, I was like, oh, we're concentrating ideas. You know. So you got the inward motion. It's a power sign. Empowerment, right? Through knowledge. Empowering knowledge, yeah.
Yep.
So you got that inward movement, but then it's air. Ideas. Let's map it out. So it's fixed. So you got penetrating.
Harnessing.
Or Scorpio wants to penetrate someone else's water. Aquarius is like more about their brain.
Penetrate your brain, right?
Penetrate, harness. Harnessing. Concentrating. Always those fixed signs.
Utilizing.
And last but not least, empowering. All the fixed signs get to bring down the power, baby. And of course, it's an air sign, so we're back to awareness. Ideas.
Thoughts.
Which lead to complete thoughts.
I really like the way these concepts, these words play out.
How they flow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about these for a long time.
Knowledge.
I used to only have 3 per. Then when I started writing down Astrology, I said, I want 5 for a complete flow, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Penetrating knowledge.
Wow. That's Aquarius, alright.
Yeah.
Aquarius, common archetypes. The genius, the cosmic genius, the scientist, the experimenter, the innovator, the inventor, the rebellious,
the rebel,
freedom fighter, you know?
Yeah.
The activist who's, you know, out there, you know, and also giving back to humanity, the philanthropist. You know?
Empowering awareness.
Yeah, empowering awareness. I like that. Penetrating to the core of awareness.
Yeah.
And harnessing those powerful new ideas. That's the inventor right there, right?
Yeah.
Concentrating thought, you know? Utilizing concepts. That's the social Aquarian that wants to create a new social security system, you know? It's time for utilizing these great concepts, not just sitting on them, you know? Like a Gemini would just talk about it.
Right.
Aquarian's like, no, we need to utilize and harness, empower people with this knowledge, you know?
Right.
That's why I'm so adamant about getting astrology out there, you know? Well, a lot of Aquarians are. CEO Carter was Aquarius with the same sun trine Uranus that I have. I'm like the next version of his generation. That's what Blasky told me.
Yeah. Blasky's big into Carter, man.
Yeah, that's what he told me. He goes, you're like CEO Carter. He goes, you're the new version of CEO Carter.
What's the EO? Charles?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I got his book upstairs.
I always wonder. CEO, you know.
Yeah, CEO, yeah. He's the CEO of Carter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Aquarius, you can see it's fixed air. It's inward moving air. The shadow side of Aquarius is that rebelliousness that gets an idea and doesn't let go. You know, it's penetrated too deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you become the mad scientist. It drives you mad. You know, because then you're like, you know, and you think this is the way it is, but maybe it's just your weird theory, and everybody else is like.
That's the danger of the fixed signs, is they can become immutable,
compulsive, and all that.
Immutable.
Yeah, immutable. Yeah, exactly. Right. They can't change. So yeah, the Aquarians are the most hard-headed people in the world. I always tell my girlfriends, I say, look, if you really want me to do something, or you really want me to like,
tell me the opposite.
Yeah. You know, because it's like Aquarius, we don't want to live in.
See, when you combine the Aries, what I'll tell somebody is, if you really want me to get me to do something, tell me it can't be done.
Yeah,
or tell me I can't do it.
Yeah.
And it'll be like,
yeah, exactly. And Aquarius is just like, we want to live in a state of total originality.
Yeah.
No one guided our ship.
Exactly.
We came from like these keywords, you know, just like, I didn't read these in astrology, but I just started thinking about this. It's like,
we harnessed ideas. We harnessed the wind, you know, of consciousness.
Totally.
Yeah.
Utilizing concepts, you know, and empowering knowledge. I'm always about that. Empowering ideas, you know.
Yeah.
I think ideas can change the world, you know, they have.
Yeah.
And so the pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah. One of the things that I work with people is, you know, changing their story, revisioning, you know, their which is kind of Virgo, right? Revision, like editing, you know? But editing in a Piscean way, a visionary way, right? Yeah. Revisioning your life story. Like, what's the story that you're telling? What's the script behind this? And is that really what you want?
You're an Imagineer.
Yeah, exactly. An Imagineer.
So an engineer, an Imagineer.
An Imagineer, I like that.
You can see Virgo being an engineer, you know, analytical, technical,
right?
Drafting boards, graphing.
Right.
But Pisces is the Imagineer.
That's awesome.
So let's see here. So yeah, Aquarius.
Speaking of Pisces.
Oh, speaking of Pisces, yes. Run to the
Imagineer.
The last sign of the zodiac. It ends in water.
Mutable water. Everything flows.
There's a poem about that. Some say the world might end in fire. Others say the world will end in water. A flood. There's a poem about it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I forgot what it is. So Pisces.
According to the Bible, the flood was last time.
Right. And next is supposed to be the fire.
Right.
But let's make it the fire of illumination and bring heaven on earth.
That would be nice.
So Pisces is also sort of like a yin-yang symbol. Because it's like Cancer. It's bringing together two sides. One fish is swimming upstream to the source.
Yeah.
One streaming down to the mouth. And so it's like the trout or the salmon, you know, bringing the
up
source
and down
together.
The stream.
You got the yin and the yang flowing together. And so this is a spiral or mutable water sign of all things. So we got the symbol of the spiral, evolution, education, flow, and then you got the water. Very oceanic this looking, you know? It's like, whoa.
There's the salmon jumping over, jumping up the stream, right? You ever seen those pictures of the salmon just like...
Yeah. Or even the ocean. The ocean has these levels, you know?
Yeah.
What is your level? Yeah, it's like, whoa, it's deeper down, the pressure's intense. Only certain microbes can live down there.
There's more oxygen down there, though.
And I feel like emotion is like that. Like, people say, like, okay, Kelly, you don't have any water planets. No water in my chart, except for my Jupiter, Jupiter, Neptune, and the 12. So what I feel these deep levels of emotion. Like, there's this surface emotion, like somebody cuts you off in traffic, you're like, damn you! Like, I never feel that way. People cut me up, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm very detached about it, Aquarius, you know? And then there's this level of emotion right here, which is like deeper, you know, it's like interpersonal emotion, like, oh, I love you. And then there's this level down here, it's like cosmic feeling. It's like what Einstein was talking about. Remember he's a Pisces?
Yeah.
Cosmic. I'm always feeling that level in my heart.
Awe.
Yeah, that sense of like awe and inspiration. I'm always feeling from that level, you know?
Nice.
So it's hard for me to feel from these other levels because they're too shallow for me. But, you know,
we have that in common. I have very little water in my chart.
Yeah.
Neptune and Scorpio.
We're dry! That's what we all have wisdom, though, you know? But it's good to role play water, you know? I mean, the Neptune helps me with all this imagination.
And I have Pisces on my second house of values. So, you know, I definitely value this archetype. Totally. The imagination.
Yeah. You know? It's like when I came into this basement, you know? It was just all cinder block walls and concrete floor. I imagined this wall right here. I thought, okay, if I run a wall through here, let's make it half and half. Get some trim, put some paneling on the bottom, put some paint up here with little gold flecks in it. It look like we're in a cave.
So you were the Imagineer, the Taurus builder.
Oh, second house son. Yeah. How do I know how to build stuff unless I have a second house son? I'm a builder, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how. And I didn't even know anything. I didn't know how to put this carpet in with the padding, and I just figured out how to do it.
That's what Home Depot's for, man.
I went online. And watched educational videos of how to do carpeting.
Nice.
And they even taught me, like, if you have a cement floor, you can't nail the tack strips in around the sides.
Right.
For the carpet to hook onto. So you have to use sub-floor glue. Mm-hmm. Glue it down. I put my dumbbells on it to glue each piece down. Mm-hmm. And then 5 minutes later, come and do the next strip. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, whoa. I learned all this online, you know? You can learn anything online, including astrology. I'm trying to guide you through the essentials here.
So, mutable.
Mutable.
Seeking. Adapting. Evolving. Demonstrating. Disturbing. I mean, distributing.
Don't disturb the little Pisces. Distributing, okay. Water starts with imagination.
Yeah. Emotion. Empathy. Well, this is like the levels of the water.
Yeah.
Compassion. So it's like what you were talking about. You're always down here on the
soul vision level.
Soul vision level.
And I have compassion for humanity. You know, but as Aquarians, I always say the joke with Aquarius is that we love humanity, but we don't like anyone in particular. We just don't want to deal with people's problems, you know?
They love humanity, but they don't necessarily like people.
Like a client will come to me.
Now they love people, but they don't like one person.
Yeah, a client will come to me and sit down, and like, they'll want to gripe about their story, you know, and how much pain they're in, and blah, blah. And I'll be wanting to get them out of it, you know? I'll be like, well, let's look at the possibilities.
Me too, totally.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, you know, we can sit here and gripe for an hour and a half, and you can still be stuck in that dead story,
I know.
Or you can stop griping and we can find a new story, and you can leave that old story.
Totally. Some people want to stay stuck there. I call them the problem clients. You get the problem clients. They're after an inspiring reading,
to it like a rat to a log.
They're calling you the next day, thinking you're gonna they had such an inspiring reading with you that now they're giving you responsibility to change their life. And I'm like calling on the phone the next day. Well, how do I do this? And I was like, dude, don't call me. You know, I mean, we'll talk about chart stuff, but if it's to live your life for you, no. Yeah. I'm here to help guide you. We're astrologers. We're magi. We're here to help. Show you the bigger vision.
Listen to the tape. Yeah, I always tell people, listen to the tape at least a few times.
Yeah, I tell them listen to it 6 months from now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's when you get the letters in the mail and the emails. Oh my God, you changed my life.
Yeah.
Because 6 months later, when they get to see it in hindsight, what they just lived through, they're like,
whoa!
Oh my God!
He foretold the future.
Yeah. They're always projecting that onto the astrology. You know?
Yeah.
We're just describing all the possibilities.
I always tell them, I didn't foretell the future. Yeah. You made me right by living the future that I made.
The best possible creative
by showing you, but you lived it. You're the one who created it.
Yeah, and I always say like when you pop the quantum wave and make an exact thing come into existence, you did that. You know, I described the field of possibility. I showed you the wave.
Right.
You created the particle.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
And they want to say that we predict the future.
Yeah.
No, we don't predict the future. We predict the trends, and we say, look, here's what kind of ingredients you got.
Here's a possibility.
Jupiter's coming in your 9th house. You could go to college. You could go to a foreign land. You could be inspired through religion. You could be you could write a book and publish it. There's many different possibilities. Yeah. You can start a radio show and broadcast it. You can learn a lot of stuff that's going to be applied to your career when Jupiter gets in the 10th. And then when Jupiter gets in the 10th, they call you like, oh my God, you were right. I learned this last year. Now I'm applying it. It's like, okay, whatever. I didn't predict no future.
Okay, I know the future. Give me $1 million.
Yeah. So, Pisces, I like the mystic, the poet, the visionary artist. Not just the fine artist, Libra, cranking out art. Because I had a lot of friends in Key West that had to make shirts every night to go down and sell the pier. Mm-hmm. And they were just artists. Like, okay, we put the bird there because the bird goes there. Yeah. And they just did the same thing every night. Because cranking it out. Yeah. But the visionary artist, like a Beethoven who went into the studio and just like, dun, 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 dun. Seeking that soul vision. You know what I mean? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Seeking soul vision.
Yeah.
They were the ones that were distributing imagination and distributing that emotion through the song.
Evolving empathy.
Yeah. Taking it to the next level, like
Yeah.
Einstein did.
Yeah.
He evolved a new kind of empathy. Even though he helped create the atomic bomb with his theory,
Demonstrating imagination.
he was evolving empathy. Let's not bomb cities anymore.
Yeah. Maybe that's not such a good thing.
I know.
Vaporizing
Human beings, yeah.
in mass quantities.
Uh-huh. And now we live in fear. The governments use it to control us, you know. Oh no, they're going to get nukes.
That era is over, man.
They have weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
I know, that era is so over. Well, we still got Bush in power till the end of the year.
Yeah.
But,
that era is going down the drain.
Yep. So,
adapting your soul vision.
Mm-hmm.
Revisioning. Remember what I was talking about? Revisioning. Like adapting, like editing, like Virgo, but adapting your soul vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Revisioning.
Imagineering. Look, there's the imagination.
Yeah.
Demonstrating imagination. That's what Pisces do best. And Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. And it's a spiral of water. You can just see that. So what I like to do is I like to picture a planet like Mars, right? Would be kind of scorpionic. So, inward moving water. You know? And then it's also very Aries. So it's outward moving. Mars is a conflict in and of itself, based on the two signs.
Pretty much.
Fire. So it's got this burning fire that's like, but then at the center, this harnessing core of water, of emotion,
seething,
like a warrior on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Rah! You know? So you got all this craziness. So then what you do is you project this into this spiral of water here, like Mars is in Pisces, right?
Mm.
So then you're suddenly, wow, you get this little emotional, intense, little fiery thing that just keeps blowing up. And when you have a man that has Mars in Pisces, he has it, and it's going around this spiral, but it's in an oceanic atmosphere of water, and it's creating these explosions in a watery field, and you're just feeling this fire, this compassion. Seeking compassion is being ignited by Mars. So then you can see why someone with Mars and Pisces has like a Gandhi complex. There's like, wow, nonviolent resistance. Because they feel that water inside them, and then that water around them, and then that little fire is connecting it. You can really visualize archetypes this way in amazing ways, you know?
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's all about visualization possibilities. You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
I always say, argue for your limitations, and you have to fight them. But if you discover your possibilities, you get to create them. That came in one of my big poems.
Nice.
Scorpionic poem called Engaging the Infinite. So, anyway, that's Pisces. That's the last sign. We're out of signs. One more thing with the water. You start off Cancer. Cancer's about going down.
It's always Ophiuchus. Yeah.
Ophiuchus? Yeah, we go back to the first 10 degrees of sense. The water trigon, the thing I like about it, I think it talks about the mystical path of the saint, of the spiritual master. You got to go down and see that you have a higher self and a lower self, and express that Cancerian compassion for that, and realize that you need to go through a regeneration, a rebirth. That's what the Christians are really talking about when they're talking about that. You have to have a second birth.
Yeah.
Because once you go through that rebirth and let go of that lower self, or align it with that higher self, the visionary self, boom, you have the rebirth, and then it opens up to this.
Yeah.
To this field of vision where, like Jesus, you can seek imagination, you know?
Yeah.
Because...
Well, that's why I never understood why Bob Dylan became a Christian, because before he ever became a Christian, he wrote this song called The Gates of Eden, where he says, "He who is not being born is busy dying," you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you already knew about rebirth. Why'd you have to become a Christian?
Well, what happens is, it's kind of like me. I went through this major phase where I was totally anti-Christian, right? 12 years old. Through all my, I'm not going to church anymore. You will not drag me down to that Southern Baptist church again.
Yeah.
And then, so I went through these phases, you know. But then when I got into like college, you know, I was in that library doing all my scholar research. Things were pointing back to this and that and the other, and I wanted to research everything. So I went back to it with new eyes. And when you come back to it with new eyes after you've been on the journey, you see to the deeper truths of the religion.
Totally.
Through all the crappy, shallow stuff.
Right.
Group control. Oh, yeah, join us or else you're going to hell.
Yeah.
You know?
And you see where all the astrology is actually in the Bible, right?
Exactly. You see the deeper truths and the metaphysics of it all.
There's astrology all through
there,
man.
That's how I read that article. And I was just like, dang, man, this is amazing. But then the church wants to rope you back in, and then you have to go beyond it again, you know? But in a whole different way.
Yeah.
Not out of rebellion, but out of just common sense.
Yeah.
You know, you've squeezed the juice out of it. You've got your orange juice. You drink it. You evolve.
Right.
Jesus never wrote a book.
Nope.
You know, never depended on a writ teaching. You know, he just walked around and said, "Hey, love your neighbor as yourself, and love God with all your heart, mind, body, and spirit." The 4 elements: heart, body, mind, and spirit.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, that's Astrology Illuminated for this. I'm glad I made it without having too much coughing fit from my pneumonia, but I'm better now, and everything is gonna flow. Hey, and actually, the next time we'll be doing a show is right before you are.
Oh,
early
yeah.
May.
That's right, early May.
Yeah,
Nice.
We'll see what happens. What are we going to talk about next time?
I don't know. What do
I
you
think
wanna
the
talk
place
about?
to go from here is I've always usually gone to the planets from here.
Yeah.
But with my new philosophy, of thinking like language evolves. You learn the nouns before you learn the verbs.
Mm-hmm.
You learn like, oh, cup, oh, water. And so I'm thinking in the evolution of language and the psychology of learning astrology, I think we need to go to the nouns, the person, place, and things, the houses. So if we go to the houses next,
Okay.
and then go to the verbs, and then come back to the signs. So you've already did all this stuff with the sign.
And what part is the aspects?
The aspects are like in language.
Yeah.
They're like the like one part in language we have is called we actually call in language the parts that bring sentences together the conjunctions.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
The ands, the buts, the thens, the theirs, So aspects are like the buts and the ands and they're actually the conjunctions.
And that's a lot of times what you'll say. Well, Mars is in the second house,
but
yeah,
exactly, yeah.
It's conjunct Neptune, So it's
and those are called the conjunctions. Isn't that cool? That in language they're called the conjunctions.
Very cool.
So that's the aspects.
So, all right. So we're gonna go houses, planets, aspects.
Back to signs. For one last visit of bringing them together, because signs. Paul Reeder broke this down in the movie. He says when signs are related to a house, like Gemini's in your third house.
Oh, right.
He said it's like an adjective.
Mm-hmm.
Sign becomes an adjective because it's describing the house, it's describing that field. When signs are related to planets, it becomes an adverb because it's describing the verb.
An action.
Yeah, Mars is in Taurus. Mars goes
yeah.
slow and deliberate.
Yeah.
So it's like an adverb, slow and deliberate.
Yeah.
So it's a really good way to look at it.
Very cool.
So let's do houses next.
All right. See you next time.
And maybe we'll have Kim back.